anything about the wind. We got the we could to block the wind. So we're going to start doing the activism, and then we'll see how long it takes the little pentagram wares to jump up here. So. Yeah. We just went live. Alright, so I'm about to turn the mic on, and then we're going to see how this goes. Because people were staring at me before we even turn it on. I'm going to let a few people get in here. What's up, everybody? Flat Gang. What's up, Awesome Austin? So this is going to be interesting. No. So just make sure you have the GoPro ready. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get into it. In a world. That did not work. Now everyone knows what we're doing now. Turn the mic down. The mic down. Hey, grabblers, back up. I'm gonna try to, man. I gotta get the mic to work. In a world. In a world. Yeah. Tell the wind to chill out. Alright, what you gonna do? Alright, so we're offering $100 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the Earth. $100 cash. No strings attached. If you get the questions wrong, you don't have to pay me money, you don't have to pay to play. $100 cash. Because I'm about to tell you something, you're gonna think it's crazy. And so, we're gonna see what you know about what you think I'm crazy for not believing in. So, we're just gonna go ahead and do it. The Earth's not a spinning ball, it's actually flat. The Earth is flat. Are you a flat earther? Yes, the Earth's flat. The Earth doesn't spin. We've tested it for 5 years. Congress censors it. I've been kicked off every platform you can name. So anyway, since you think I'm crazy for not believing the Earth's a ball, I'm offering anyone here $100 cash that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth right. They're super easy questions. I'll tell you what the first one is. How many times does the ball Earth supposedly spin every day? Every 24 hours. Easiest question I come up with. Because if you don't know anything about the globe Earth, and you think I'm crazy for not believing in it, that's pretty dumb. That's like telling me you think the Bible's real, but you've never read it. That's a cool story. So $100 cash, no strings attached. And I've already told you what the first question is. These are things we should have learned in elementary school, but no one knows it. I've been in every major city on the East Coast so far. No one ever wins the money. So, I don't know, something's not adding up. Every flat earther, quote unquote, which is a stupid term, you're a flat earther too, you just don't know it. You're actually a globe earther. You blindly believe the Earth's a ball. You think this waterfall is actually tilted backwards, going upside down. That's what the globe Earth says. So the Earth is provably flat. It doesn't move. That's why you don't feel like you're moving. We've actually measured the Earth, made long distance observation. So it has to curve at a certain rate based on size they said it is. It doesn't do that. We've seen the Chicago skyline over 60 miles away across Lake Michigan. The entire skyline should have been blocked by Earth curve, but we saw the whole entire skyline. We've seen mountains from 200 miles away should have been blocked by 1 mile of Earth curvature. We saw the entire mountain top to bottom. This is why in Congress they admit they censor flat Earth. They call it dangerous misinformation. So at the least, you should definitely not agree with the government forcibly censoring things, right? If it's so stupid, why would you have to censor it? If you Google flat Earth, you'll get the Flat Earth Society. Not one real flat earther's in there, and everything they say is stupid. They say we think that we're a disc in the solar system with spherical planets. No flat earther thinks that. That's dumb. They say that you can fall off the edge. No flat earther thinks that. That's dumb. Okay, so there's something called the Antarctic Treaty. You're not allowed to privately explore past the 60th south latitude, the Antarctic region. Every major world country signed this treaty. China, Russia, America, all these enemies. They've been in a treaty since the 50s. They said you can't privately explore that area. So do we think you can fall off the edge? No, that's dumb. You can't even get to the theoretical edge. We don't make claims about an edge. We know the Earth's not spinning, and we know it's not a ball. It's not curving. So if the surface of the Earth isn't curving, what is it? So we're offering $100 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth right. Come school the stupid flat earther. Because I debate astrophysics professors, aerospace engineers, the guys that you look up to. You deny science? Well, I debate these so-called scientists, and they can't debate me. So feel free to come up here if you got a question that can stump the flat earther. Don't get embarrassed. Who cares what other people think? You should be able to ask me a question I can't answer. Or you can come answer the 3 basic questions. You get them right, you get $100 cash, 520s fresh out the ATM. And the first question is, how many times does the Earth supposedly spin every day? Every 24 hours. It's the easiest question I could think of. 1 is correct. So now everyone knows the answer. You can still come up here if you get the next 2 questions right. You want to try? You might as well try now. All right, how far away in the globe Earth model, how far away is the sun? It is in millions of miles. You gotta tell me how many. I'm watching out for these dumb phones. No one can Google. Any guess? 3 million. No, I'm sorry. Thanks for playing that. It's I'll say the answer to this one. I'll just keep asking new ones. It's 93 million miles away. That's what they say. They say the sun's 93 million miles away. The distance to the sun has supposedly changed 6 times in the last century. They have to keep updating their model. So we're so crazy we don't believe in it, they can't even make their mind up. They have to change it every few years. It constantly changes. So what they say is the sun and the moon, they look like they're the same size, but actually the sun is 400 times further away than the moon. Just coincidentally, it's exactly 400 times bigger also, so they look like they're the same size. You know what the other option is? They're the same size. One rules the day, one rules the night. Very simple. So they also say you're spinning 1,000 miles an hour right now, you just can't feel it. That's a cool story. The other option is you don't feel it moving because you're not moving. And again, this actually isn't a debate. We measure the Earth. So it doesn't curve anywhere. So most people say, what's this matter? What's this crazy white boy talking about? Who cares? It matters because it shows that every major world country is working together. They've all agreed you're not allowed to privately explore the Earth. They've all told you that the Earth is a certain thing, that there's no more land, there's no more resources. So they're hiding land, they're hiding resources. We give NASA $60 million a day. They told you you're a tiny speck of dust in the ever-expanding universe and everything came from nothing. And then lightning struck primordial soup, and then rocks turned into fish, that turned into rodents, turned into apes, and then they turned into you. There's nothing special about you. All that's a lie. If the Earth is stationary, which it provably is, that means it's the center of everything that exists, which means that it had to be put there. If it's the center of everything that exists, how could the Earth be there if it wasn't put there? So there is a creator. It's the necessary antecedent to creation. There's not a scientifically viable option outside of that. This is a huge lie. It has huge implications. Also, it's very useful to help brainwash you. So when you don't feel like you're moving, you have to blindly believe you're actually spinning 1,000 miles an hour because the authority told you that. And when you see the horizon is horizontal, which is where we get the word horizon, it's in the word horizontal. That's why it's called a horizon. Well, it looks flat, but it's actually curved. You just have to trust the authorities. They know more about it than you do. Right? And when you look at the stuff move in the sky and the sun and the moon move around, actually they're sitting still. And when you watch a sunset, you're just falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour, and it just looks like that. So you can't trust any of your senses. You can't figure out what the truth is for yourself. You have to look up to authority and quote-unquote scientists. They're actually pseudoscientists. I debate them all the time. There's no empirical evidence for any of this. So you're very easy to brainwash. If you can't figure out the truth on your own, you have to go look to authority to do it. Maybe the last 15 months to you, while everyone's still scared of the air because they were told to be, right? You guys are scared of the air. It's like how you stay alive, I think. I can't even get into specifics with that because YouTube will actually delete the channel. That's how free of a country we're in. I can't even say certain words. So anyway, the sun and the moon, they move over top of us. When the sun gets too far away, you can't see it anymore. It's not 93 million miles away. It's not some huge ball of fire and gas in a vacuum. You can't have gas in a vacuum, which leads me to the next point. Those of you that are choosing to breathe oxygen, I would say about 50%, we might got 60% here that are actually breathing. Okay, you're breathing something called oxygen. That's a gas. Okay, it's called gas pressure. We have 14.7 psi surface level. You cannot have gas pressure sitting next to a vacuum. That's literally impossible. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, so it says entropy will increase, pressure will fill the available space, systems spontaneously seek equilibrium. But real simply, when you have a soda, the only way it's fresh is it's sealed very tightly, it's carbonated, and it has a high pressure. When you open the soda, it goes psh, and then it immediately equalizes to the lower pressure around it. That's the second law of thermodynamics. The high pressure instantaneously goes to the low pressure. You make a cup of coffee, you sit it on your counter, it cools off because the heat goes to cold immediately. This is the second law of thermodynamics. You could not have a pressurized system sitting next to a vacuum. It would instantaneously fill the vacuum. So the necessary antecedent, fancy word for requirement for gas pressure is container. It's actually in the word pressure. It presses on the walls of a container. That's the definition of gas pressure, the energy or force exerted on the walls of a container. Something is containing the earth, that's the only way that you can breathe. You're not sitting next to a vacuum. So what most of you guys want to say is, this guy's crazy, we've been to space. We got pictures of the Earth from space. And like most people project their own intellectual insecurity. They know nothing about this. They want to sit from the distance and try to throw rocks, act like they're smart and be part of the in crowd, but they'll never come up here and talk about it. It's actually weak people, right? So like strong people don't care what weak people think. Don't make your decision based on what everyone else says. So they said they went to the moon in 1969, but they just can't go back anymore. Direct quote from Don Pettit, one of the world's most famous astronauts. I would go back to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back. So we can't replicate technology from 1969 when we give them $60 million a day. I have an iPhone 12 Pro that's live streaming this. It has better processing capability than an entire warehouse of computers in '69. Technology does not regress, it gets better, and then it gets cheaper. That's how it works. This is the one exception. They can't make rockets and do what they did in 1969. So then to the other stupid, we'll just say misinformed thing that people say, we have pictures of the Earth from space. Well, actually, according to NASA, they're cartoons. So are you going to call NASA a liar, the people that gave you the quote-unquote pictures? Because here's a direct quote from one of their major artists that they use for the blue marble, one of the most famous pictures of the Earth ever. Of course it's photoshopped. It has to be. They take pictures from high altitude, stitch it on a flat map, wrap it around a ball, bring an artist in to do an artist rendition to match what the observer expects it to look like. NASA.gov, blue marble, Robert Simmons. Google it on your dumb phone. It says exactly what it says on their own website. So why can't we have pictures of Earth from space? If we went in 60 pictures, people walk up to me with the cartoon picture and then they laugh and they show me the picture. Do you still believe in Dora the Explorer? Is Superman real? So cartoons don't prove something's real. And the horizon's always horizontal. Something else is called fluid statics. I hope this doesn't trip when I get up here. Okay. It's called fluid statics. Water always finds its level, so it's still level, 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 level. Always finds its level. That's why we put fluid in levels to build things. It's called sea level, right? So how is 70% of the Earth oceans that's flat on a ball? Is 70% of the ball flat? How's that work? So I'm offering $100 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. I'm making a point. Here's how you test it and prove it for yourself. Here's how we know it. They didn't teach you that. They said, ooh, look at the cartoons of the planets in the solar system. Remember their names. This one rains diamonds. And they make all kinds of pseudoscientific fairy tales. They don't tell you what the radius is, what the circumference is, how to test it, what rate it's supposed to bend at. They don't tell you any of that because you could go test it. That's what we've done. And that's why in Congress, they admitted they censor flat Earth. They forcibly censor flat Earth. So you should agree that we should be allowed to at least actually speak freely, right? And if flat Earth is so stupid, why would you have to misrepresent what we think and censor us? And if you guys support censorship, well, say goodbye to America. And if you haven't realized, we had lockdowns last year. That's a lot like prisons. Lockdowns in a free country term, that's a prison term. So, you know, we probably should. Hey, we're offering $100 cash. Does anyone win $100? $100 cash if you get 3 questions right about the globe Earth. 3 questions right, no strings attached. You don't gotta pay to play, you don't gotta pay me if you get it wrong, get $100 cash. Since this guy's so crazy, he thinks the Earth's flat, how about you come show that you even know anything about the globe Earth? It's the most elementary questions I can think of. $100 cash, and I'll tell you what the first question is. How many times does the Earth supposedly spin every 24 hours? Easiest question I can think of. If you get that right and the next 2 questions right, you win $100 cash. I've been in Philly, Washington, D.C., Atlantic City, New Orleans, all through Florida to Miami, everywhere else in Florida, all through Tennessee and Georgia. No one ever wins the money. No one ever wins the money. So all you gotta do, come up here and try to answer the 3 basic questions. I'm not asking you to define the theory of relativity or what year was gravity discovered. I'm just asking you basic questions about the Earth. But no one ever gets it right. So how can you think I'm crazy for not thinking the Earth's a ball and you don't know anything about it? It's like telling me the Bible's real, but I haven't read Genesis yet. That's weird, bro. So anyway, you guys call me a conspiracy theorist, and I call you guys a coincidence theorist. So we'll just prove it. So if you ever heard of Masons, you're not allowed to be a 33rd degree Mason unless you know the Earth is flat and you know that you're a Luciferian. Have you ever heard of Lucifer? Okay, well then maybe you've heard of the number 666. Well, let's see how many times 666 coincidentally pops up in the globe Earth model. Because you guys are coincidence theorists. You guys don't know any of this, but you know I'm wrong already. Which is like the epitome of ignorance. Willful ignorance. But anyway. So supposedly the diameter of the moon, 2160, that's 6 times 6 times 60. Supposedly the circumference of the Earth in nautical miles is 21,600, 6 times 6 times 600. Supposedly there's a curvature rate of 0.666 feet per mile squared, while we're on a 66.6 degree tilt, wobbling around the sun, 66,600 miles per hour, using gravity discovered in 1666, and the number for gravity is 6.66. And the south and north Arctic circles are at 66.6 degrees. These are all just coincidences. Yeah. Also, there's something called the Selenilian eclipse. It's also called the impossible eclipse. According to the globe Earth cartoon model you all believe in, with cartoons you were shown when you were 5, when during a lunar eclipse, the sun is blocked by the Earth and it casts a shadow onto the moon. You've heard of an eclipse, right? Well, there's something called the Selenilian eclipse, and the sun and the moon are both up above the horizon during the eclipse. Sorry, they're just attacking the stream. I don't know what to do. Please. I'm gonna fight somebody. Leave my stream alone, you psychopaths. Flat Earth's so crazy that literally all my streams get attacked. Seems legit. This is also my backup channel because I was censored on my other channel. Oh, seems legit. Seems legit. We should support YouTube forcibly censoring the truth. And they admitted it in the government. Oh, by the way, let me actually tell you something else that'll just rock your world. Most of you guys watch the news. You watch CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or ABC. Did you know that the CIA admits that they took over the mainstream media? So when you watch the news, you're watching CIA agents. Did y'all know that? It's called Operation Mockingbird. It's declassified. Over 600 pages. Have you guys ever read it? You think that sounds crazy? So most of you guys are scared of the air because the news told you to be. That means the CIA told you to be. It's declassified. It's called Operation Mockingbird. That we infiltrated the mainstream media to control the public narrative to be consistent with our geopolitical agenda of the time. Actually, whenever discussing this in Congress, the guy said, "Are you saying that the news anchors are CIA agents?" And the CIA representative said, "We need to continue this conversation behind closed doors." So when you watch mainstream news, you're watching the CIA. So maybe that's why you guys have just been effectively brainwashed, because that's what the CIA does. Oh, that's actually declassified too. It's called MK Ultra. The CIA literally studied how to brainwash you. Literally. It's called MK Ultra. They studied the process of brainwashing. And then they took over the news. But you guys don't care about anything. I just want to post a pic for the gram. And when is Drizzy's new album coming out? And I want to walk over here in the crowd and act like this guy's crazy. It makes me feel smarter. Just comply for 2 weeks and we'll get back to normal. That was 15 months ago. I guess you'll just comply forever. Where we had people supposedly die for our freedoms, which usually they just died for like drug trade, trafficking, and to put centralized banking systems in other countries. They supposedly died for our freedoms, and you guys are just cool with lockdowns now, like prisons. When someone's in prison, they're allowed to chill in the pod, and they have a curfew, you have to go into lockdown in their cell. You guys have curfews and lockdowns now, and you actually obey them. What a free country. I can't wait till July 4th so we can celebrate how free we are. So this is why stuff like this is important. It's time to uncover the lies, take the glasses off your eyes and open them. I know most people, they don't have ears to hear. This is just for the people that are actually at least open-minded and honest and have ears to hear. Most of you guys don't care about anything. You guys will just leave thinking this waterfall's tilted backwards going upside down. Seems legit. That seems legit. I don't need to understand it. People that are smarter than me do it. That's dumb, bro. That's dumb. Gravity is just a theory. It has no scientific evidence at all. So someone will walk up and be like, "You don't believe in gravity?" And then they'll drop something. They're like, "Oh, stupid flat earther." Dude, whatever you dropped was more dense than the air. That's why it went down. If I take a beach ball and I throw it in the air, it goes down because it's more dense than the air. If I take the beach ball to the bottom of a pool and let go of it, it'll go up because it's less dense than the water. It's called density equilibrium or disequilibrium. So it determines direction, up or down. See, the only reason they've even come up with gravity is to explain theoretically how the Earth even could be a ball, because there has to be some immense force pulling you down in all directions, omnidirectional, or you fall off the ball. So it's just a theory. It's a theory of gravity. First it was mass attracting mass, proposed by Newton. Now it's the theory of relativity, proposed by Einstein, who was a psychopath. And it says that gravity is the effect of the bending and warping of space-time. Space and time, those are two concepts. So can you bend freedom? Can you bend love? That's dumb. You can't bend concepts. That's the best they could come up with to explain how the Earth's a ball. And by the way, when we assume the theory of relativity, and then we go apply it to the quote-unquote universe, it's off by 95%. In 2021, Yale, Harvard, Stanford, all the quote-unquote scientists and astrophysics professors and astrophysicists and Neil deGrasse Tyson and NASA, all working together They're still off by 95%. So I'm crazy because I don't believe something that can't even be mathematically described theoretically any more accurate than 5%. That's insanity. It's called dark matter and dark energy. They can't even explain it theoretically yet. They will never be able to explain the Earth being a ball. That's dumb. The Earth's not a ball. It just isn't. You can actually measure the surface of the Earth. I'm giving $100 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. You think I'm crazy for not believing it. No one ever gets them right. $100 cash. $100 cash. This guy's so crazy. He doesn't think the Earth's a ball. I just don't know anything about it. Seems legit. So we have an observation where we see the skyline of Chicago. Hey guys, put the gram up for a second. It's not going anywhere. We saw Chicago's skyline from 60 miles away. It should have been completely blocked by Earth curve, but it wasn't. So anybody want to explain that? What's up with that? Oh, the Earth's just flat there? What about our observation in the coast of Cali where we're supposed to see the curvature 1 mile away from 1 foot off the ground? It was 10 miles away. Requiring the radius be over a 250,000 miles. Oh, is the Earth just flat there too? What about in France where we saw mountains 200 miles away? And it should have been blocked by 1 mile of Earth curvature. Oh, the Earth's just flat there. So it's like a disco ball. It's a ball that's just flat everywhere. And 70% of there, that water's level. This waterfall is literally water trying to find its level. That's what water always does. If you have a bottle of water, flip it in every direction, it always finds its level. So 70% of this ball is water that's flat. It's flat in all observations we make all over the Earth. But it's a ball. It's crazy, bro. It's insane. So that's why it's censored, because it's not a debate. Neil deGrasse Tyson was supposed to debate Eric Dubay, a pretty infamous flat earther, and it's set up on Joe Rogan's podcast, the #1 podcast in the world for over a decade. They agreed to it, and someone told Neil, nope, you can't do that. He backed out of the debate. He backed out of the debate with the stupid flat earther. What's up with that? He actually said that he wasn't want to debate a flat earther because he may lose because they're more charismatic. No, you would lose because you get schooled because the Earth's not a ball. That defies physics and it's dumb. I would debate any scientist you can think of. I debate astrophysics professors. They can't answer the questions. How can you have gas pressure sitting next to a vacuum? Do you guys know what a vacuum is? Have you ever had a vacuum cleaner? Put some gas pressure beside a vacuum cleaner and then make sure the gas just sits there still beside the vacuum. That's not how it works. It immediately goes into the vacuum. That's how it works. It's just simple second law of thermodynamics. Which people just think that's complicated. It's not. It's simple. That's why your soda goes psh. It's that simple. It equalizes to the lower pressure around it. So how do you have a pressurized system sitting next to a vacuum? What they defined outer space is literally impossible. It's literally an impossibility. It violates natural law. Maybe now you'll understand why they can't go back to the moon 50 years later. Because they destroyed the technology and it's too dangerous. So I'm crazy because you guys think they went to the moon in '69 but they can't go back in 2021, but we're landing a rover on Mars. No, you're not, bro. You can't even go back to the moon. It's dumb. And actually most of these astronauts were approached with a $5,000 check and they were asked to put their hand on the Bible and swear to God that they went to the moon, and none of them did it. One of them actually attacked the guy and punched him. So why can't they promise they went to the moon? This is getting weird. And again, they brought Nazis over here. Do you guys like Nazis? Anyone like Nazis? Raise your hand if you like Nazis. Yeah. I'm glad we all agree. We'll just go with the official mainstream narrative of World War II. So we all think Nazis are bad, then why'd the government bring Nazis over here to take us to the moon? And now we can't go back to the moon. I guess we're just fresh out of Nazis. You guys don't think that's weird? Because they say the Nazis were famous for brainwashing people. They're like, hey man, we got this thing we're trying to do. We're trying to brainwash America and make them think we went to the moon. So we need you to use your propaganda skills and help us lie to them about how we went to the moon. We literally brought Nazis over here. Operation Paperclip, declassified. Operation Highjump, where they discovered the land in Antarctica, declassified. Admiral Byrd, the decorated general that went there, he said, it's astonishing to me that there's a landmass as big as the continental U.S. on the other side of Antarctica that's never been explored with tons of lands and resources. That's what a general for the United States said on national TV in black and white. So we went and explored that area in the 40s, and then they all agreed you're not allowed to go there. So what they find? What they find there, it's called the Antarctic Treaty, the longest lasting treaty ever. All these enemies now agree that it's illegal for you to travel past the Antarctic Treaty. That's not weird? No one thinks that's weird? Am I tripping? No, we know the Earth's a ball because I've seen cartoons. We have pictures of the Earth from space, but we don't. They're cartoons. Gravity, how does gravity work? It's just a theory. It doesn't work. It's not real. There's something called electrostatics. If you take a balloon and rub it on your hair and stick it to the wall, it sticks. That's electrostatics. that's 10 to the 39th power stronger than gravity claims to be. That's 39 zeros. You can't isolate electrostatics. It's in everything. Everything electrostatic. Wood, rubber, you name it. Insulators. This rock, you, your shoes, everything is electrostatic. So if you can't get rid of electrostatics, that's 10 to the 39th power stronger, how can you find gravity? You literally couldn't. It's never been proven. It's no scientific experiment to show it. It's a theory of how space and time bend and warp. You guys don't think this is getting weird? You guys think this waterfall is tilted backwards going upside down? Is that what you think? That's the official story. Officially, this waterfall is going upside down. You just can't tell. And whenever you see the sun go away from you in the sky and then set, it's actually sitting still and you're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour and it just looks like that. I thought I was the conspiracy theorist. This is weird. You guys have never thought of any of this. And then by cosmic chance, the sun and the moon look like they're the same size, but actually the sun's 400 times bigger. It's just also exactly 400 times further away, so they look like they're the same size. No, they're just the same size, bro. And they're smaller and they're more local and they move over top of the sky. If the Earth was flat, wouldn't the entire light or the entire Earth be lit up by the sun? That's one question we get a lot. No, light doesn't shine forever. There's something called attenuation. It just means that it gets absorbed into the medium. The air is a medium. Water is a medium. It's just what something propagates through. So light doesn't travel forever. Right here on the ground, could you see it? Wouldn't light... keeps getting attacked. No big deal. You know, you have to censor crazy flat earthers because they're so stupid and it's so dumb. You have to forcibly censor them. And this is my backup channel because my other channel got struck. And I don't even cuss. I've been kicked off PayPal. Anybody want to tell me why I got kicked off PayPal for being a flat earther? Anyone got any bright ideas? Y'all think that's cool? Seems legit. We'll go with the official narrative of World War II again. So there were people walking around, they're like, yo, I think the government's trying to take over. I think that they're trying to build a Nazi regime and take over. And there were people like there are people here that were like, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. And then what happened? You guys have lockdowns, bro. You guys, you know who else used to wear masks? Slaves. Literal slaves. And you guys have lockdowns like prisons do. And you don't realize that maybe the government's going to take over? CNN has to come out with a headline that says, government takes over. That's the only way it could be real. I'm trying to wake you guys up before it's too late, but now just keep sleepwalking. Post a pic for the gram. Nothing matters. Ignore this crazy white boy talking about the earth. Who cares? Post a pic for the gram. When's Drizzy's album coming out? Polo G just dropped that heat. I got a Netflix series. Have you seen the new Matthew McConaughey movie? None of you guys care about anything. I just got to work my 9 to 5. How does this change my life? You guys have lockdowns, bro. And you guys obey the lockdown. You gotta obey the curfew. How generous that the government let us come out here and look at Niagara Falls, a state park that the people paid for. How generous of them. You guys don't realize what's going on. The whole world shut down the same day. Just a coincidence. And I can't get in specifics about what they're now rushing out. I'll literally get terminated off YouTube. I can't even say the word. It'll be medical misinformation. Even if I read literal medical journals word for word. If I read word for word CDC's website, I get kicked off. What's up with that? Nothing sketchy here. Nothing sketchy going on. The government would never lie. The government loves me. That's why they faked attack for the Vietnam War. And they said that Vietnam attacked our ship, and then they came out and admitted that actually we attacked our own ship and made it look like it was them so we could go fight them. That sounds like some people we should trust. The same people that said planes hit a tower the same day that America's military was running a drill that planes might get hijacked and then try to hit the tower so they didn't notice they were off route. And then a paper passport popped out of an explosion and floated down to ground zero, and an FBI agent found it to find the bad guys. And then we had intel of weapons of mass destruction that they've since come out and admitted wasn't real, and we were in a 20-year war. Yeah, those are some real trustworthy people. The people that set up wars all around the world with lies. No big deal. The CIA is now known to be the biggest drug trafficker in the world. And they actually targeted minorities. They targeted poverty-ridden areas, crammed them in poverty-ridden areas, flooded it with drugs. And then they did the war on drugs. When really, if you were doing a war on drugs, then you'd arrest everyone at the CIA because they sell more drugs than anyone ever. This is the least trustworthy group of people ever. The same government that used to condone slavery. So the same exact government that took away all your rights for the last 15 months and told you have lockdowns like they do in the pen. The same ones that have private prisons and support private prisons. They actually work in tandem with the government because they're who arrest you. and then they work with the private prison, which is modern day slave trade. None of this is weird. None of this is, go back to sleep. Post a pic for the gram. The government would never lie. The government lies about everything. They're lying about what's going on right now, and I can't even talk about it. I'll get kicked off. They're lying about the nature of where you live. It's not a magic cartoon spinning ball in a vacuum where everything came from nothing. That's stupid. You're not a tiny speck of dust. The Earth doesn't move. The skies reset for all recordable history around Polaris, which is the North Pole star, and is directly over the North Pole, which is the center of the surface of the Earth. That means the Earth is the center of everything that exists. So if the Earth's the center of everything that exists, how did it get there? It literally had to be put there. There's not another viable option. Some of you guys think that you're atheist. I hate to bust your bubble. There's no such thing. No one here is atheist. There's literally no such thing. To be an atheist, you have to say you know for a fact that there is no creator. Can anyone here say honestly they know for a 100% fact that there is no creator? That's what the etymology of atheist is. No deity, no creator. So at best, you're agnostic. You don't know. And actually, I kind of respect that. It's at least pretty honest, right? But if you know what the Earth is, you do know. That's another reason they lied, to hide the creator, because if you know there's a creator, then you answer to the creator. You don't get your rules from the government. You don't answer to the government, which is actually what the Declaration of Independence says, by the way. We have inalienable rights from the creator. NASA takes $60 million a day to lie. $60 million every day. And they hand out their memorabilia like candy, bro. You just go into a Walmart, oh, here's a NASA shirt for 99 cents. They just want everyone wearing it. By the way, coincidence theorists, NASA means to deceive in Hebrew. And it has a snake tongue going through their logo. Just a coincidence. And the satanic vigil is what they say happens during the eclipses. That's another coincidence. And the Earth's spinning 1,000 miles per hour east, but the wind goes east and then west and then north and then south. But actually, we're spinning 1,000 miles per hour in a vacuum. Just believe me. Science. It's like your get out of jail card is just to say gravity and science over and over. This is where it's going to get real heavy and it's going to trip you out or whatever. You guys can take off, you guys can breathe the oxygen. We checked it. It's still good. Trust me. Okay, so there's somebody called Freemasons. They're Luciferians, and they're the ones that cast this lie onto you. You're not allowed to be a Freemason if you're an atheist. They consider it the dumbest ideology ever. So then they told you, it's like Charles Darwin was a Mason. He told you that evolution was real, but he knew that it wasn't real under his own words. So they told you all these fairy tales about the Big Bang and everything came from nothing. Most atheists, they think they believe in the Big Bang and that it's science. A Catholic priest is the one that proposed the Big Bang. So your entire worldview of atheism is dependent upon a religious priest. Isn't that ironic? So anyway, these psychopaths called Freemason, and not every Freemason, don't get it twisted. Most of them don't know what's going on, probably 95%. That's how they have a cloak, right? They give charity donations and no one knows what's going on. But you get to the 32nd degree, you have to be voted on to get to the 33rd degree, and you have to know a few crucial details about their literature. So they give you access to the library, but you have to go do the study yourself. They sit back and see if you pass the test. One of the things is you have to know you're a Luciferian, which is the idea of collective intellect and reason, and they worship the sun. They're psychos. This is all real. They worship the sun because it represents the perfect embodiment of enlightenment. That's why they told you about a heliocentric model. Helios is the sun god. The Statue of Liberty in this state is a Helios statue. Google a Helios statue. It's identical to the Statue of Liberty. They're actually sun worshippers. They told you that they go around the sun, but they know that that's not true. You can't be a 33rd degree Freemason unless you know the Earth is geocentric, meaning the center of everything, stationary, and a plane. Okay, so the G stands for lots of things. If you've seen the Freemasonic symbol, it has a G in it. One of the things it stands for is Gnosticism. It stands for Grand Architect. It stands for the seventh letter of the alphabet being G. 7 is the sacred number of sacred geometry. But it also stands for Geometria, which is the measurement of Earth. And that's why it has a square and a compass, because that's how you measure a flat Earth. It's literally in plain sight. You're not allowed to be in 33rd degree unless you know that. They think that if you think there is a tiny speck of dust that spins around in a vacuum and everything randomly happened, that you're dumb and you don't pass the test. You're not allowed to be 33rd degree. And that's actually where Freemasonry starts, is the 33rd degree. Then you go up way higher than that. Some say to 360. Either way, that's where you actually get brought into the Luciferian group. So let's talk about what else is going on. These same psychopaths that have lied to you about the Earth and know what it is, and they lied to you about how they went to the moon, and they lied to you about Vietnam War and 9/11 and passed the Patriot Act, the most invasive legislation ever, where it stripped all your rights. They don't even have to give you due process anymore. They also wrote a letter predicting the 3 world wars before the first one. This is actually in a British museum. So a 33rd degree Mason, he wrote a letter predicting the 3 world wars. He got the first 2 exactly right. Well, you want to know what the World War III is going to be? It's going to be a war. This was written in the early 1800s. It's going to be a war between Zionism and Islam. in the Middle East, and this is what they say, and they're gonna get the Christian Zionists in America to support Israel. They're gonna divide people based on which one of the people you pick in the Middle East, and once they appear to wipe each other out in the war of all wars, then officially they will be doing away with atheism and Christianity, and they will bring Luciferianism out into the open for the world. This is what they say. And they also say you won't be allowed into the New World Order unless you take the Luciferian initiation. But it'll be stuff like this. We have a one world religion, it's all about love. Doesn't sound too bad, does it? It's all about love. We're all like gods. We're all connected. Collective consciousness. No more war. This is peace and prosperity. Put down your weapons. This will be the New World Order. And it's on the back of your dollar bill in Latin. It says New World Order on the back of your dollar bill in Latin, with the all-seeing eye on top of a pyramid, which is an Illuminati symbol, a Freemasonic symbol. Maybe last year should make a little more sense to you when the whole world agreed they should shut down on the same day and give everyone prison terms like lockdowns and curfews. They're building their New World Order. This is where a lot of people will check out, but whatever. They're conditioning you for the mark of the beast. Okay, so there's a thousands of year old prophecy that says, in the end, they will try to build a new world order, a one world order, thousands of year old, a one world order, and that they will make you identify yourself to buy, sell, and trade, and that it'll have to do with your wrist and your forehead. So the whole world shut down on the same day, and in that same year, they made you wear a mask, one letter away from mark, to identify yourself to buy, sell, and trade. And when you went into the store, they scanned your wrist and they scanned your forehead. Oh, no one put it together? You're walking into a store like a robot, getting your forehead scanned. You're used to getting scanned on your forehead. You're used to identifying yourself to buy, sell, and trade. And I can't get into more specifics, but they're going to rush out a way you have to identify yourself to buy, sell, and trade. It's the mark of the beast. So I get it. It sounds crazy. But they're crazy. They're psychopaths. They're also eugenicists, which means they think they can control who lives. So there's something called the Georgia Guidestones. I've documented it twice this year. It actually proves that the Earth is a flat, stationary plane. The Georgia Guidestones couldn't work if it was a spinning ball. It's a compass, a clock, and a calendar. But anyway, on there, the first rule they have for the New World Order is maintain humanity's population under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. I thought we had 8 billion people. How are they going to get to 500 million? Number 2 is to guide reproduction wisely. To guide reproduction wisely, meaning they get to determine who has children and how many children they have. Another one is unite the world with a single living language. To have a one world court. To avoid petty laws and useless officials. I can actually agree with that one. But that's not for us, that's for them. That's for the New World Order. It's actually written in all the world's major languages. The first one on the top capstone is Babylonian cuneiform. You guys ever heard of Babylon? The deity from Babylon is actually on the back of your dollar too. In God we trust. God is the Babylonian deity for fortune. That's why it's on the back of the money. And then it says favors our undertakings, New World Order in Latin. So God favors their undertakings of a New World Order. Anyway, so what happened with Babylon was they tried to build a tower to heaven. Not to a magical space vacuum where everything's thousands of light years away. They were trying to get past the firmament, which contains the earth. Okay, that's actually what the Disney logo is showing you. They draw the firmament, and then the tower goes right through it. They're trying to redo it. They're going to try to build a tower through the heavens. Anyway, so what happened was the Creator stepped in, He intervened, He confounded their languages so that they couldn't communicate anymore, and that's where we got different languages. They want to go back to Babylon with one language. That's why it says unite the world with a single living language. And this is happening right in front of you guys, as you guys just sleepwalk through life, and who cares, I just got to post a pic for the gram. Who cares that people are out here like sacrificing their livelihood, getting death threats, having to give up 6-figure jobs like I did because I wouldn't stop talking about this, being censored off of everything like PayPal and Venmo and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, trying to wake you up. But none of this matters. Just go back to sleep. Who cares? It's just like what they said happened with the Nazis. It's very hard to verify any specifics of world wars, but we'll go with the mainstream narrative. So what happened with the Nazis? You've heard the infamous story, right? It's like, then they came for the artist, but I wasn't an artist, so I didn't say anything. Then they came for the engineers, but I wasn't an engineer, I didn't say anything. And eventually they came for me because no one was left. That's what you guys are going to do. If it doesn't affect you personally, you're not getting kicked off Facebook. You still get to be on Instagram, so who cares? Who cares about the fact the government's taking over and censoring anyone that questions what they're doing right now with their lockdowns and curfews? I can't get any more specific than that, or I'll get kicked off YouTube. I can't even talk about it. I can turn the live stream off and talk about it, but Maybe we'll do that in a second. So they're censoring everyone that's trying to get out ahead of it and wake you guys up. So what I've had to do is put my business I owned on hold and travel around the United States using a freaking microphone, going to prominent places to try to wake people up. And most people walk right by me like zombies. I can't even get them with $100. I'll give you $100 if you can answer 3 questions about the globe Earth. No one even does it. When they do, they're getting embarrassed. They don't win the money. So like, we're forced to go out into the world and talk to a few hundred, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people at a time. It's the only way to get the word out there, right? And if just a few of you guys would wake up and do it with us, we'd be okay. But most of you guys won't. A lot of you guys will literally hear all this information and then press reset and go back to your day-to-day life and never think about it again. But if you do want to know more information, you should come up here and get a card from me or my homies over here. They'll give you information. There's a bunch of basic information about the globe Earth or the flat Earth right here. And we'll give you a card that has a QR code. That's the only way you'll be able to find us, though. And if you just go Google flat Earth, you will not find real flat Earth. You'll find 10 reasons we know the Earth's not flat. When did we discover the Earth was a ball? Flat Earth Society, where they say crazy, stupid things where, yeah, they went to the moon, but they just saw one half of it, so it could be a circle. No, we know the moon landing's fake. They say, oh, the Earth's a disk in a solar system with spherical planets. No, that's dumb. The Earth is the bottom of everything, and everything in the sky moves over top of us. So are the other planets flat? Well, the word planet, the etymology means wanderer. It's a wandering light in the sky. It has a little bit of a different motion, but they all move east to west. We document them all the time. They're just orbs of light, and they pulsate. They're not static, which means still. They move. They're orbs of light, just like the other stars are. So can you prove it's a solid terra firma that you can land on, like the ground, that's a spherical object? Because you can't. You just see a circle orb. And if I shine a flashlight at you, it looks like a circle. You know? Is a quarter round? Yeah, but it's also flat. So, and even worse than that, even if all those lights in the sky were balls, that wouldn't prove that the Earth's a ball. That's dumb. That's like walking into a pool table, up to a pool table, and grabbing the pool ball and saying, look, this pool ball is a ball. That means the table's a ball. Look at that light bulb on top of the ceiling. That means the floor is a light bulb. That's stupid. We measure the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere. If the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? So we have mountains, we have valleys. It's called a topographical plane. The Earth is flat. We just now went to East Tennessee, and we saw mountains hundreds of miles away, and they rose up to our eye level. How's that work? How am I like 6,000 feet in the air looking at mountains hundreds of miles away that are rising to my eye level? If you're on a ball, as you go higher, you're up above the Earth, and it's going down and away from you the further it gets. You can't see mountains hundreds of miles away rise to your eye level. That's impossible. We've literally measured the Earth. See, what happened was technology outpaced the lie. Nikon came out with a camera called the P900. It has the highest commercially available zoom that exists. They've now come out with the P1000. So the P900 is 83x zoom, and the P1000 is 125x zoom. So a bunch of people, they found about some of this information, because you can actually go to the CIA library and find this out. There's actually thousands of declassified documents by the military that say the Earth is flat. Most of you guys will just never read it. And we went out and we started making observations with the cameras that can zoom in really far, and we see way too far all over the Earth. It's not curving anywhere. So technology outpaced a lot. They just know that most of you are brainwashed, and you think you went to the moon, and who cares? And I'm not like trying to hate on you guys or anything like that. I used to think the Earth was a ball. So did he, so did she, so did he, so did everyone else here that does know the Earth's flat. Everyone thought the Earth was a ball. Everyone. We were all taught the same story. The only difference is you haven't researched it at all. You know nothing about it. You haven't tested it. The other group learned everything about it. I've studied it for 5 years. Most of us did. Actually, in 2015, the top 2 search Google terms were Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Number 3 was flat Earth. Number 3 Google term in the world was flat Earth, behind Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And so, Congress came out and admitted that they had to censor it and get ahead of it. So when we found out about the Earth, you could actually get on YouTube and type in, Star Trails, flat Earth, and you get good videos. Now, if you type in my channel, you'll get nothing but hit pieces. They lie about our numbers, they shadow ban us, they interrupt our streams, right? But the hit piece on me has like 500,000 views. It gets propped up. What's up with that? They're actually afraid of us because we're breaking down the wall of lies, and if you know what the Earth really is, you know the government's lying. And you probably wouldn't be scared of the air, which we checked, and it's still good. The air's still good. Just 2 weeks. We'll get back to normal in 2 weeks. 15 months. Now you have lockdowns. What's going on, bro? I feel like Ashton Kutcher's gonna jump out. We're being punked or something. And I can't even get too specific, man. It's such a clown world. I'll turn the stream off in a second, and I'll talk about what they're rolling out. So anyway, if you want any information, you can come up here and get cards from us. We have QR codes, things that explain the basics. You can come up here and read it. A lot of people are embarrassed to read it. Think about the world we live in. I'm out here for a while. You guys think I'm crazy, and you can't walk up and read a sign without being embarrassed. That's such a clown world. If flat Earth is so dumb, why can't you read it? Why can't you? If flat Earth is stupid, why can't you hear what the truth is? Why can't you look at the information honestly? If someone tells me that lizard people run the world, I don't care. If someone tells me that fairies are real or gnomes are real, that doesn't bother me. I don't want Congress to censor them. You know, I'd be like, how are fairies real, bro? Let's hear it. I wouldn't be like, you're so stupid, I don't have to listen to anything. Who cares? I've now broke down everything about the globe Earth that you know nothing about. I'm offering $100 cash to anyone here that can get 3 basic questions right. But no one can get the money, man. What's up with that? What's up with that? $100 cash. How many times does the Earth spin every day? That's the first question. In a world where no one knows what the world is but think I'm crazy. But we went to the moon in 1969. We just can't go back because we destroy the technology, and it's a painful process to build it back, and it's too dangerous. And we go home $60 million a day, but we can't do what we did in 1969. You guys are the conspiracy theorists, bro. You think that they can't do what they did in 1969? If you still believe in the moon landing, you need to wake up. The moon landing is one of the dumbest lies ever. It was done in a studio with the flag waving, and then they fall on the ground and get jerked up on a harness. And they said that they can't go back. We're going to go back to the moon, and they push it back every 4 years for 50 years. Why can't they go back to the moon? If I'm so crazy, why can't they do it again? No, most people say, why would they? They've already been. That's not what they say. They say they want to go back, but that they can't. That's what they say. That's the official story. We destroy the technology. It's a painful process to build it back. It's too dangerous to go through the Van Allen radiation belts past low Earth orbit. We can't do it anymore. Do you guys think that makes sense, that in 2021 they can't do what they did in 69? So if you can't be honest enough to accept the fact they lied about the moon landing, then maybe you should ask yourself, why did they lie about the moon landing? Why lie? Usually when you're telling the truth, you don't have to lie a lot. I'm just saying, though. Why won't any of these scientists just put an end to the stupidity that flat Earth is and debate us on national TV or on Joe Rogan's podcast or something? Because they would get demolished. You can't debate this. See, there's something called science. What science actually is verifiable. Most of you guys are like, you don't know anything about science. Yeah, I know exactly what science is. That's how I know the Earth's on a ball. So you have what's called a dependent variable, right? It's an observable phenomenon. It's something that naturally occurs and you see it, you observe it. That's your dependent variable. That's the first step, right? And then you have an independent variable, which is the presumed cause of the effect that you observed. So you propose a hypothesis that's a cause and effect relationship test, and then you test it out with a scientific experiment. The globe Earth can do this for nothing. There's $1 million reward if someone can actually replicate water bending around a ball, sticking to the outside of it while it spins. $1 million. It's been offered for 2 years and no one can win the money. You can't even show that it's possible to have what they say the Earth is. $1 million, bro? $1 million. Actually, Flat Earth has even been taken to court for one of the rewards, and the court upheld on the Flat Earth side, saying there was no evidence of a globe. In court. What's up with that? The jury and the judge agreed that there's no evidence for the globe Earth. That he could not provide sufficient evidence that the Earth's a globe. Guess you've never heard about that. Guess you've never heard about any of this. That's why we have to go into the world and pull a microphone out. And like be a buzzkill, I'm sorry about it, but this waterfall's not tilted backwards going upside down, that's dumb. The Earth's not spinning, that's dumb. The Earth's not a ball that's flat everywhere, that's dumb. Water's not bending around the outside of a ball, that's dumb. Water always finds its level. Look, fluid finds its level. Always. It's always level. It doesn't matter what you do, it's going to find its level. It conforms to its container and finds its level. Large bodies of water at rest do not bend around a ball. And actually, that's where we make observations. We look over the ocean, which we know is flat. It's called fluid statics. It's just a natural law. And you can see way too far. Way too far. So $100 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. $100 cash. Anybody want to try? Come on, man. Somebody got to try. What's it? You don't got to pay to play, bro. You don't got to pay me if you lose, bro. You want to try? All right, bet. How many times does the Earth spin every day? No, yeah, if it's a ball. All the questions are about if it's a ball. That is right, but how many times does it spin, full spin every day? Yeah, every 24 hours. How many times does it spin? No. Sorry. Once. Yeah. Thanks for playing. At least somebody came up and played. $100 cash, anybody want to play? Come on, guys. The flat earthers stupid. Just come take his money. In a world where no one knows what the world is. You want to play for $100, bro? $100 cash. $100 cash. Yo, I've been trying to get the bread away for months. What's going on? $100 cash, anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. If you're being honest, what you should now realize is, I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about the globe Earth. I don't know anything. And neither did I, bro. You know, like when someone told me the Earth was flat, I was like, how are people this dumb? All right, I didn't know anything about the globe Earth, but what I did was I went and tried to prove the Earth was a globe. And then 5 years later, here I am, I know for a fact it's not a globe. That's what every flat earther did. No one wants to be a flat earther. No one wants to lose their 6-figure job or get death threats. No one wants to be ostracized, and when they come tell you guys, you all laugh at them. Who wants to do that? We're just not weak. We stand up for what we know the truth is. We seek and speak the truth unequivocally. We don't care what other people think. And there's only a few people that even do that. There's actually 16 million flat earthers in Brazil alone. And that's the public number. 16 million. This is why it's censored. They shadow ban us. They kick us off everything. They make sure that like the people that watch our channels can't support us, right? So that they hope that they can weed us out and get us away while they put billions of dollars behind the other side with mainstream cartoons and lies. What's up? Yeah, the Earth's not a magic spinning cartoon ball in a vacuum. That's dumb. That defies physics. You can't have pressure next to it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ask them on the video if they know what the second law of thermodynamics is. Of course not. No globe earther does. Anyone want to answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth? I'm not asking you about the second law of thermodynamics to define it or the theory of relativity or anything like that. I'm just asking you the basic core questions. So anyway, another question that we get that's super intelligent is, well, what's on the other side? If I dug down, would I get to where other people live on the other side? The deepest hole ever dug is 7.8 miles. You can't go deeper than that. It's called the borehole in Russia. No one's ever dug deeper than 7.8 miles. It's around the same distance as the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest place of the ocean. So you can't go below 7.8 miles. They claim they know what's at the core 4,000 miles away. So the globe Earth had a certain prediction through the layers of the Earth that they say exist when they showed you cartoons in a textbook funded by the government. Okay, and then when we dug that borehole in Russia, 7.8 miles, the globe Earth's predictions were wrong the entire way. They said it was going to be hot where it was cold, wet where it was dry. Google the Russian borehole and how their predictions were wrong. So if they can't even predict down to 8 miles, how could they possibly know what's 4,000 miles down to a magic magma core full of metals? Something else that's problem is they say that's how they explain the magnetic field, but they can't explain it yet on a globe. That goes for Stanford, Harvard, Yale, you name it. They can't explain the magnetic field on the globe Earth yet. They say that it's made up of certain metals in the center, but that it's so hot that it would reach what's called the Curie point, where those metals lose their magnetic capability, so they can't explain it. They can't even explain it. It's real easy to explain on a flat Earth. We live on the dielectric plane, and there's a magnetic field above us. Whoa. You're not going to ever be able to explain reality on a globe, because it isn't reality. You know? And I debate the people you guys look up to. That's what I don't get. Most of you guys are like, this guy's got to be crazy because scientists. I debate them. They can't debate me. They can't debate him. They can't debate him. They can't debate her. They can't debate any flat earther. What's up with that? Interesting. I'll give you $100. No, I'm glad you asked. The Earth is not spinning right now. That's why you don't feel like you're spinning. Unless you've been drinking tequila. Maybe you're spinning. And then you get the spins when you lay down, and you got to roll over and put your feet on the ground to stop spinning because the Earth doesn't move. No, it's just so big, you wouldn't feel it. That's a cool story, bro. So the Earth's just so big, you don't see it curving. It's just so big, you don't feel it spinning. And then we see stuff moving in the sky, but actually it's sitting still and we're spinning. And we don't have any evidence for this. We can't prove gravity exists. Helium balloons defy gravity. Everywhere you measure the Earth is flat. Every time you see the horizon is horizontal. Every time you've ever experienced anything, the Earth's not moving. Every time you look at the sun moves in the sky. But no, I promise the Earth's a ball. That's dumb. We measure the surface of the Earth, it doesn't curve anywhere. So, I can get real specific. People get so triggered that the Earth's not a ball, it's so weird. How dare you? How dare the Earth not be a ball? Especially boomers, they get real triggered about the moon. Are you telling me we didn't go to the moon? We went to the moon, what have you done, millennial? Just inherited trillions of dollars of debt from you guys. And I'm not hating on all boomers. Some boomers are cool. But anyway, we didn't go to the moon. That's stupid. That's why they can't go back, because you can't go there. I'll get real specific, okay? But most people hate math. But so the radius of the Earth is supposedly 3,959 miles. That's the distance from the center to the edge of a circle or a sphere. It's called a radius, right? Half of a diameter. Okay, so 33,959 miles. That means that the Earth has to curve at a certain rate based on that number, because that's how big it is. That's how spheres work. I know, it's profound. This is called geometry, right? Everyone should have done some geometry in school. So based on the radius value, you should see the curvature of the Earth at no further than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Not too complicated. So what's the square root of 1? What? What's 1 times 1.225? 1.225. So if we're 1 foot off the surface of this magic spinning cartoon ball they said you live on, then you should see the curvature of the Earth a mile away. From 1 foot off the surface, you have to see the curvature a mile away. We have an observation 1 foot off the coast of Cali, and we see the horizon over 10 miles away. That would require the radius value to be 264,000 miles. But they claim it's under 4,000 miles. So what's up with that? You've never tested it, you never heard of this, but you know it's wrong. You cannot come back from this. We measured the Earth. It is not curving. They lied about the Earth objectively. It's called geometry. Okay? That's how you measure shapes. Well, they said it was a certain shape with a certain size. It is not. The radius value has been falsified. It's been debunked. It isn't real. So a lot of you guys will say, oh, well, maybe the Earth's just bigger then. It doesn't work like that. If the radius value is wrong, the entire model is wrong. Day and night cycle uses the radius value. Supposedly gravity uses the radius value. The planet's orbital trajectories use the radius value. They could never go to space without an accurate radius value. You need something that's called the radius of orbit to get escape velocity, right? So they had to lie about going to space. Distances on the Earth use the radius value. Well, we know the distances on the Earth. We can travel from one side of the U.S. to the other side of the U.S. We know exactly how far it is. Well, those distances would have to change if the radius is wrong, if it's still a ball. So when we falsified the radius, we falsified the entire model. It's literally impossible for the model that they told you to be real. It's literally impossible. It's not a debate. That's why it is censored. Because they can't debate it and make it look like they won. There is no debate. It's basic geometry. Does anyone think that they can respond to it? No, they'll just act like they're smart while they walk away and that condescending, but they can't debate it. They would get dismantled and embarrassed. They would get embarrassed. So based on the radius value, the curvature of the Earth has to be at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. This is geometry. So what are you shaking your head about? You disagreeing with geometry? You know how geometry works? It's not really something you can agree or disagree with. They said the Earth's a certain size, a certain shape, with a certain radius. It has to curve at a certain rate. It doesn't do that anywhere. Oh no, it's still a ball, I promise. No, it's not. No, it's not. We go out and measure the Earth all over the Earth. Hundreds of millions of us all around the world. That's why it's censored. People think it's some fringe, archaic group of psychos that are stupid. No, it's some of the more high IQ people that don't blindly believe the government, and they went out and actually measured and tested the Earth. Those are the flat earthers. The guys who are actually ignorant are the ones that will not go test it. They'll leave this conversation, this engagement, and they'll just pretend they never heard it. They'll never go test it. They'll never go research it honestly. Or they'll go to Google and say, how do we know the Earth's not flat? That's real honest research without bias. You guys should come up here and get a card that has a QR code to take you to the real info, but I know a bunch of guys are embarrassed to approach me. You can get on your app on your phone and type in flat Earth. You'll have a flat Earth sun, moon, and clock app. It answers all your questions. There's a question mark section. Every question you can come up with, it shows you where the sun and moon are over top of the Earth. So the sky resets for all recorded history. It's a clock. No, it just looks like the sky's moving. Actually, it's sitting still. The Earth's moving. No, the stuff in the sky's moving. Very simple. Very simple. So some people say, but I've gone around the world, or you can go around the world. How can you do that on a flat Earth? It's called circumnavigation. So east to west circumnavigation is exactly the same on a ball Earth or a flat Earth. You use a compass to travel. That's how you know where north is, which is how you get your directions. This is how you navigate. So the compass faces to the center, where the North Pole is. And then you go east or west relative to the center, and you update. You come back in a full circle back to where you started. That's why it sounds like it's got the word circle and circumnavigation. So it doesn't prove anything. The only thing that would prove the Earth's a ball is north to south circumnavigation. where you would come up underneath the ball with this ice cap they call Antarctica and come back up on the other side. It's illegal to even try to do it, and no one's ever done it. Every single major world country agrees it's illegal. You guys think that's not weird? What's up? Thanks. Thanks. You want a card, bro? Yeah, it's got a QR code on it. You can scan it. Yeah. No. Flash Society's all fake. Yep. Check it out, bro. Alright, then don't. In a world. So every single country's agreed that it's illegal for you to circumnavigate the Earth north to south, which would prove the Earth's a ball. Sometimes we have flights where it would be like a fourth as long as if we could just go over the South Pole. No, it's illegal. Commercial flights are illegal. Because you can't do it. It doesn't exist. Also, you could just go around it, not even fly over it, and still it's short the flight path. No one ever does it. But if you look at the flight paths on the flat Earth, they make perfect sense. It's as fast as you could get there. There are 16 emergency landings that prove the Earth is flat. One of them is that someone was in labor and started to give birth. Their water broke on a plane. They had to do an emergency landing. They landed in Alaska on the globe Earth. That makes no sense. They would have had to go hundreds of miles out of the way. But on the flat Earth, it's directly where they were. That's why they landed there. There's thousands of declassified documents from the military that says the Earth's flat. What's up with that? You know why they're called planes? Because they fly over a plane. If you look at the declassified military documents of military planes, they say that they're engineered assuming a flat, non-rotating surface. When they shoot missiles, they assume a flat, non-rotating surface. You can Google on your dumb phone, electromagnetic propagation over a flat Earth .mil. It will be a military declassified document that they built towers as weapon systems, having to assume that the Earth was flat for it to work. Using electromagnetic propagation, assuming the Earth's a dielectric plane. That's how they come up with actual weapons. No, the military just wasting billions of dollars on technology that would never work, assuming that the Earth's flat, because it wouldn't work the same if it was on a ball. How come pilots never have to account for the Earth dropping underneath them? How come they don't have to account for the Earth spinning 1,000 miles per hour? How come I know hundreds of pilots that are flat earthers? People will actually walk up here and say they've seen the curvature from a plane. People will actually say that. No, you didn't. I know hundreds of pilots. According to your side, based on the math, you would not see the curvature from a plane. You'd have to be way higher than that. Which brings me to my next point. There's something called the Felix Baumgartner jump. If you guys ever heard of it, it was sponsored by Red Bull and GoPro. This guy named Felix Baumgartner, he jumped out from 128,000 feet high in a capsule. It was actually really cool. He passed out. He passed out. He was so high, and he just starts somersaulting and flipping, and then he comes back to consciousness, and he lands. For one, that debunks the Earth is spinning because he landed too close to where he first set off from, and it took him so long to descend, the Earth would have spun significantly underneath him. He would have landed in a different location. But anyway, whenever they show this on national TV, it shows this huge curvature of the Earth, right? And it's like they said that he was on the edge of space, which is also a lie. According to their own model, that's 62 miles. But anyway, it's called the Kármán line. So it shows you this huge curvature of the Earth. So when the average person, like who's out here, just watched that, they're like, wow, you can see the Earth's a ball. Well, what flat earthers did was we sent high altitude balloons up to the same altitude, 120,000 feet. And every single one of them shows the horizon's flat. Every single one of them. So then Neil deGrasse Tyson came out on national TV and he said, a lot of people think they saw the curvature of the Earth in the Felix Baumgartner jump, but actually they did not. That was using a GoPro, which uses a fisheye lens, and it imposes a curvature where it's not. It's actually flat. You would be 2 millimeters above this beach ball, and up there that stuff would be freaking flat. So why did they show everyone that it looked like a ball then? You usually don't have to lie a lot when you're telling the truth. And the only reason they came out and admitted it was because we sent high altitude balloons up individually and tested the claim and proved the horizon's flat at 120,000 feet. So when someone says they see curvature from a plane, that's ridiculous. Commercial planes go 35 to 40,000 feet. 3 times that high or more, you don't see the curvature of the Earth. Admittedly, from your own side. Right? So what's going on? When you're in a plane, the horizon's flat. When you look out over the ocean, the horizon's flat. When you send a high altitude balloon up 120,000 feet, the horizon's flat. Every single time you've ever seen the horizon is flat, because that's what the word horizon means. It comes from horizontal. So when you say you see the curvature on the Earth, you don't even know your own model. It's literally not what would happen left to right curvature on your own model. But actually, you should see the curvature directly in front of you based on how high up off the ground you are. It's just geometry. Based on, if you're 1 foot off the ground, you have to see the curvature at 1.2 miles. It's really simple. If I walk up to a hill, can I see through it to the other side? No. That's what the Earth has to do if it's a ball. It doesn't do that, though. This is where people shake their head and act like they're smart, but will never engage it, don't know anything about it. They don't know what the second law of thermodynamics is, what fluid statics is, what the size of the Earth is, how to measure it, how to test it. Have they ever done it? Have they ever debated all the people that are supposed scientists? No. I debate astrophysics professor, but someone that walks by here and shakes their head and ridicules me is going to really back me down. Of course not. They don't know anything about it. I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm just being assertive. If you don't know anything about it, just keep your mockery to yourself. That's what I would suggest. Because I know the Earth is flat. I gained nothing from this other than trying to wake you up. I had a 6-figure job offer I couldn't accept because they told me to stop talking about flat Earth. So what do I gain from this? I get death threats for this. I've been kicked off Venmo and PayPal for this. I've been kicked off PayPal because on YouTube I talk about the Earth being flat and don't even cuss and tell them that there's a creator and that he loves you. Oh man, you better kick him off PayPal. He's telling people they're special. How dare you say I'm special? That people also say, why would they lie? Why would they lie? That's everyone's answer. They can't debate it, but they'll just say, why would they lie? Okay, so I always use this analogy. Say you had a girlfriend, and I walked up to you with my iPhone. I'm like, bro, I got some bad news. Your girlfriend's cheating on you. I got a video of it. She's hooking up with this dude. Would you say, no, I'm not looking at the evidence because I know she wouldn't do that. Until you can tell me why she would lie to me, I'm not looking at the evidence. Of course not. You would look at the evidence, you would see that it's real, and then you would figure out maybe why she lied. So you need to look at the evidence and find out if they lied about the Earth instead of trying to use cognitive dissonance to dismiss it because you can't debate it, you don't know the specificity of any of the arguments, and you just say, no, this can't be real. Why would they even lie about that? Right? The motivation of lying is independent of whether or not they did lie. We proved that they did lie. But I can give you some speculation. You're asking a speculative question. Why would they lie? I don't know. I'm not the one that lied. When does the government not lie? There's the question for you. Knowledge is power. If you're the only one with that knowledge, it's much more powerful. We give NASA $60 million every single day. But the government would never lie for money, so we'll throw that one out. They say that you can't go past the 60 south latitude, the Antarctic Treaty. But they would never lie to hide land and resources. They just start entire wars for those very things with false intel like weapons of mass destruction, which they admitted isn't even real. So they are hiding land and resources. We give them $60 million a day. They told you that everything comes from nothing, that lightning struck primordial soup, everything's billions of years old and thousands of light years away, and you're just this little insignificant human on this huge Earth that's actually a little insignificant speck in this huge universe, and nothing's important about you. It's random and chaotic that you're even here. And you're shooting all kinds of different vectors in space. Vector is direction with momentum. And then an asteroid can hit you at any point in time. Okay? But the truth is that the Earth is stationary. He's crazy, but I can't debate it. The Earth is stationary. Okay? It means it's geocentric, which means the center of everything. And since the Earth is provably geocentric, someone had to put it there. If it's the center of everything that exists, how'd it get there? It had to be placed there. So they're hiding a creator. I bet a bunch of you guys wouldn't blindly obey rules from the government if you knew there was a creator. Maybe you wouldn't be scared of the air if you knew there was a creator. It's easier to have a slave state when people are what's called nihilistic, which is apathy, to not care about anything. When you're nihilistic and materialistic, you're very easy to brainwash. Okay, that's why they also give you fluoride. It makes you docile. So if you don't think that there's a creator, then, I mean, what's the point? You'll just blindly believe whatever they say. So they're hiding the creator. Now what you do with that, that's on you. How you express it, how you figure out the truth. I would say the scriptures are true, but religion sucks, but that's for you to figure out. But they're hiding the creator. There's another reason. There's something else that happens. There's a psychological impact of not being able to trust your senses. So right now, no one feels like they're spinning 1,000 miles per hour. But you have to blindly believe that you are in fact spinning. Whenever you see the horizons horizontal and flat, you see the Earth flat, but you have to blindly believe it is in fact curving. And so you can't trust your senses. You can't trust your observations. You have to turn to authority to get all your answers. That's how you create a slave state. People don't trust their own senses. They can't tell the difference between truth and fiction, and they have to trust the authority for all their information. That's how you have a brainwashed population. There's 4 to 5 very common sense, indisputable reasons they would lie. I don't know. Why'd they lie about weapons of mass destruction in the Middle East? Because they came out and admitted that wasn't real. So why'd they do that? Why would the government not lie? Yes, I'm sure. They came out and said there's no weapons of mass destruction under their own admission. The reason you don't feel like you're spinning is because you're not spinning. The earth is still. You're special. The Creator made you. He loves you. You're not. You didn't come from monkeys. You're very special. You're individual. You have a spirit, and the Creator loves you. The earth is very special. You have domain on it. You're very powerful. You have a lot of capabilities they don't want you to know about. And now they're telling you to blindly obey their laws and blindly obey their rules and go into lockdowns like prisons do. You don't have to obey the government. The only thing you have to answer to is the Creator. And so, in case you guys don't know, here's a history lesson, because apparently we completely forgot about this. The Declaration of Independence says that we get our rights from the Creator and that they're inalienable. Then we have something called the Constitution. That's where we articulated our God-given rights, right? The rights given to us by the Creator, rather. And then we wrote down what you cannot infringe upon. That's not like the government wrote a list of things they let you do. This is a list of things we wrote that say we get these inalienable rights from the Creator and you cannot infringe upon them. And now you guys literally turn on your news to see what the government's going to let you do. Is the government going to let us out past 12 o'clock tonight, or do we still have a curfew? Do we have to go in lockdown again like prisons do? The government doesn't give you rules. The Constitution says here are what you can infringe upon. The Declaration of Independence says this is what we were given by the Creator. This is why they'd much rather you think that there is no Creator. Because you're nihilistic, you don't know that your rights can't be infringed upon, right? So I know there's a Creator. So I know I have a God-given right to travel the earth freely. That means I know the Antarctic Treaty, where every single major world country has said I can't travel there, doesn't apply to me. That's illegal. It's an infringement on my rights that I was given to by the Creator. But you guys don't even know. Half of you guys don't even know there's a Creator. Half of you guys don't even know the Antarctic Treaty is a thing. So the one thing that would prove the Earth's a ball is illegal. That means Russia agreed with China and agreed with Japan and agreed with the United States. All these enemies, they all agreed in a peace treaty, the longest to ever survive since the 50s, not even going to be re-examined until like 2030 or 2040. And they all agreed it's illegal for us as humans of the general population to go privately explore the Antarctic region. You think that's legit? You think that's just a coincidence? It's illegal. The only thing you can do is pay anywhere from $20,000 to $80,000, go on an approved guided tour. They show you less than 1% of Antarctica. They bring you to this one area, and they say, okay, this is the South Pole. This is as close as you're allowed to go. You're not allowed to go on your own. They'll intercept you. Someone's tried. The world's militaries intercepts you. You can't bring external fuel supply or water supply or mechanic equipment. You're not allowed to privately explore it. Because this would prove the Earth's a ball. We'd come up on the other side of Antarctica, the ice cap on the bottom of a ball. We'd circumnavigate it north to south, and we'd prove it. It's illegal to do it, and every country's agreed on it. And they signed this right after the United States went and explored this area with Operation High Jump, which is also declassified. So they're lying about the nature of the Earth. They're hiding land, they're hiding resources. And are we just going to, like, not care? Who cares? I got to post a pic for the gram. Who cares about any of this? I got to post a pic for the gram, and I got a 9-to-5 job, and no one cares. So they're keeping you crammed into these countries with borders, and you think that each country is like fighting each other. And the truth is that all the major world countries are in on the same trick. So why does this matter? Why are you so passionate? Why do you come out here and talk about it? Because it literally means that every major world country is working together to lie to you, to not let you go anywhere. And now that maybe makes sense when the whole world shut down on the same day and told you that you're now in a lockdown like prisons are. But no, the government's trying to keep you safe. The same government that starts war and kills millions of people with false information, the same CIA that trafficked more drugs than any other establishment ever in the history of mankind, the same ones that lied about 9/11. If you guys think the official story of 9/11 is legit, I don't know what to tell you. Believe it or not, paper passports don't pop out of fire. That's not how that works. Okay? And they said there's weapons of mass destruction, and there weren't. So the same governments that lie to you about everything, you think that they shut the whole world down by force and gave you lockdowns to protect you? Just like they put fluoride in your water and they said, oh, it's to make sure you have pretty teeth. Oh, that's a cool story. You know where else they put fluoride? In rat poison. It calcifies your pineal gland. It makes you more docile, easier to brainwash. So the government doesn't do things to protect you because they love you. They do things to get power. Power corrupts habitually. It always has. This is nothing new. And they keep us divided with, oh, are you a Republican or Democrat? Neither. I don't vote for presidents that are all related. Every U.S. president's related, and they all track back to English royalty. So we just get to pick out of the family reunion? What's up with that? You can verify everything I say, by the way. Oh, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are such mortal enemies that she was on the second row of his wedding. They're all in the same club. If you pick between the presidents and argue with each other, you fell for the trick. It's called divide and conquer. They also divide you with race. Race is dumb. We all have different skin tones. Big deal. Get over it. They use all these things that are really polarizing to divide us because it's easier to control us. So, I'm glad you guys are so interested. Oh my gosh, look at this waterfall. It's tilted backwards going upside down. All right, I'm taking a break. If anybody has any questions, they can come up here and ask them if you have genuine questions. If anybody wants to try to win the $100 cash, all you have to do is answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. Since I'm so crazy for not believing in the globe Earth, I've said it a few times, but when you act like I'm crazy and you laugh and you make fun of me because I say the Earth's flat and not a spinning cartoon ball in a vacuum, but you know nothing about it, that is dumb. That's why I do this. $100 if you can prove you even know the basics of the globe Earth. It's like telling me you believe in the Bible, but you've never read Genesis before. How much? Well, I did read Genesis, bro. I did study the globe Earth. So, if you're being honest, you can't really claim someone's stupid of something you're so ignorant of if they don't believe it when you don't know exactly what it is you believe. So, I'll offer $100 cash all over the United States, anyone that can answer 3 basic questions of the globe Earth, and no one has retained any of the information. Most of them weren't even taught it, and that should make you wonder, how do I know it's a ball if I don't know anything about it? But anyway, if you want any information, we have cards up here that explain a bunch of stuff. We have QR codes. We have downloads for the app, the Flat Earth app. Answers all your questions. So, and there's also a flyer up here, or a little sign up here that gives you basics about the Flat Earth. I'm going to take a break, drink some water, and eat some fruit. No one messed with me this whole time. Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Sorry about it going out a lot. It's working now, though, huh? Yeah. What's up, chat? Oh, Holly, what's up? Vader Bear, what's up? I'll come chat with you in a second. Did you get any good shots from the GoPro? Did you get any good shots from the GoPro? No. Maybe not. The chat wants to see you guys. Do you care? The chat wants to see you guys. Do you care? Do you care if you're on camera? All right. What's up, guys? Not everyone's going to be shown. Whoa. Are you about to have a cameo? Are you ready? Oh, can't even see anything. Oh, that's awesome. You came into the picture slowly. There you go. Flat Earth Legends. There's some guy over here. I don't know who this guy is. Sorry about the it going out. Yo, I could have swore that the park police were gonna come over here, bro. Someone's always like real negative, flat earthers. They like get on my Facebook, they're like, "Oh, you're not gonna make it 5 minutes." Wrong. You guys think I look crazy?
curvy chair. I don't want to yell. But I don't want to.
You got any questions to this up? Can you please show us the imagery the passerbys are looking at? Yeah, just a sec. That's what they're saying. And then, yeah, in a sec. We give them this.
Are you still live? Yeah, people are taking snapping photos. That's how I saw it. Yeah. It's very funny.
Where's it at?
That's why I wondered how he's like. You can barely.
Oh, I see it. I see it. We can go over there. But I'm afraid to leave everything. We give them this. What else do we give them? I don't know. We give them some other stuff too. We give them this. Oh, sorry if the camera's kind of bad. You can only plant seeds. Well, yeah, a lot of people sat down and listened. Like, dude, here's the deal, man. If you can do it better, just go out and do it yourself. You know, everyone wants to like complain and give critique about how I do it, but like, just go do it yourself. If you think I talk too fast, go do it slower. If you think I talk too complicated or technical, go talk simpler. If you think that people aren't listening, you go get their attention. You know, people are sitting down listening. When they were walking by, they come back, they double back and sit down. So, you know, it's just kind of annoying. I get annoyed whenever I hear that stuff, bro. It's like, yo, you travel all around the United States. Yeah, all the people are watching. They're like low-key waiting for me to get back on there, bro. It's pretty funny though, because you always see the people that like mock us, but that's the only time I get even like kind of assertive. I'm like, dude, just keep it pushing, man. What do you think this is?
So all of these areas, especially if there's like a cliff.
You guys want us to take you to see the Tesla statue? The problem is we have so much stuff.
No. I'll wait here. No. There's a map. There's two maps.
You guys want to take us to the you want us to take you to the Tesla statue while I'm taking a break? You know it. Hit me with the yes or no.
Because I have friends.
It's like
even like
it's a mile away.
No, about half a mile, but here's a mile, half a mile there about.
No, we got one no. Yes. No, I know, Vader Bear. I know. I'm just saying. I'm just addressing like the overall point, bro. Obviously, most people are asleep, docile sheeps that are genetically modified, you know.
And government. I understand that.
Stream's working at the moment, yeah, and it might start messing up when we walk. That's the only problem. Sure, let's do it. Might as well. You guys want to walk to the Tesla thing?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'm just gonna keep the camera on me because I'm not gonna end the stream. So.
It's a long walk. I would say it's like at least 15 minutes.
I'm just not gonna end the stream though. So.
You might want to like.
In a world.
Everyone here? Okay.
Oh, that sucks. Maybe I'll just do a little bit more. You guys can go if you want to. Look, that's what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't want to like just sit there and talk on camera while we walk for 30 minutes. That sounds miserable.
Yeah, I think a lot of, I noticed a few things. Like, I'm awake about one thing, but they're pessimistic about another.
Do it, though.
I don't see, because, like, for example, yesterday, I don't know if it's still really better, but
If you're waiting for people to ladle more gravy, I'll vote stay.
interactions, I do a lot of meditation and a lot of,
Everyone says Rashi.
and I know
I can't disagree.
special. I'm not saying I'm special, but we all have this power. So from what I've noticed, I've seen, and again, it's all about what you're trying to think bad, and you're going to see bad. If you're think good, you're going to see good. So it depends on how your heart is.
In a world.
So that's the thing.
So I think I'll get my channel back like Monday. Austin, you're crushing doing the creator's work. Keep crushing, brother. Thank you.
I know I seen it on someone's website one day, and I don't know what website it was.
Oh, my throat. Feels crazy.
Very nice to try, but it'll be a long
I need a few more minutes to chill. I'm not gonna lie. We're thinking about maybe we'll come back tonight too, so we can do it when the lights are on.
I wasn't vague.
Yo, who goes to Niagara Falls and puts up flat Earth signs? I'm just saying though. Who pulls out a PA system in Niagara Falls State Park?
Every year it's just on my own.
You're competing with quite an amazing waterfall created by the creator, to be fair. Yeah, of course. Like, it's one of the great wonders of the world, bro.
And I'm also very optimistic.
But there are people all on the other side too that are sitting down listening. There are people that sit down, they come back and listen. Like,
All right, I mean, that's fine. First step, we have to go dirty. What I'm seeing, I'm not like asking for signs. I just kind of sometimes don't see patterns. Articles on these certain topics, history, and then also people have tests that you're doing.
is the Maiden of Mist still give rides? Yeah. We went on it a couple days ago. You're the man, Austin, always crushing. Thank you.
I can send you the link, and it was like, oh, it's happening at like 8 p.m. And then not only that, before I came out, last weekend. And then they were supposed to have an air.
I think I'm gonna do the thing where I lure them in with lots of other stuff and then talk about the Earth. If even just one soul listens, it's worth it. Yeah, but just people that never do, I'm not even talking about the chat. I'm just talking about in general. It's like people that never do anything like this. They like give all kinds of critique. It's like, bro, just you go do it. It's just so funny. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not hating on anyone in the chat, It's like I feel like I'm creeping it pretty elementary, to be honest. Should I go in there and talk about the theory of relativity and how light's actually just an excitation of the background medium due to an introduction of energy? And that all you're actually measuring when you call it the speed of light is the illumination rate, which explains the non-locality of light. Yes. Melt their minds. Try that. Like, dude, it'll go over all their heads. I agree, it'd be too technical. Like, I've done this quite a bit now. I can tell, like, people just, they check out. They don't know what any of it means. Need a code word for genetic modification? Yeah, my code word is genetic modification, but, like, no one in the real world knows what that is. All right, I'm just gonna go back. Whatever, I'm just gonna go back out here.
Oh, you mean like in terms of photography? Is that water taken from the table?
Space Marine looks abandoned. Looks like somebody's in there like
Must not be getting too triggered. They haven't like got it. Hold on.
well, one security walked by.
In the world. Hey guys, y'all want to hear something cool? The Earth's not a spinning ball. That's dumb. The Earth is flat. Oh, you're crazy. All right, let's talk about how crazy I am. According to the globe Earth, this waterfall is tilted backwards, going upside down. Do you guys think this waterfall is going upside down? Does anyone actually think this waterfall is going upside down? Because that's what it has to be doing if there's a ball. Who thinks this waterfall is going upside down? Show of hands. So I thought I was crazy. Because what I think is the waterfall is going down. Yeah. The waterfall is the water falling. I know, that's profound, huh? So if the Earth's a ball, that means relative to Australia, this is going upside down. It's actually tilted backwards. You know why the water is falling? Because the water is trying to find its level. That's what water does. Right? Like if you have a bottle of water, it's level, and then you tilt it, it's still level, still level, still level. Water always finds its level. That's why we put fluid in levels to build things. You guys know what a level is whenever you build something, right? That's how you find out that it's level, so you can build it, so you can have a house. We put fluid in there because it always finds its level. That's why it's called sea level. So how is 70% of the Earth ocean if water always finds its level and yet it's a ball? How is 70% of a ball flat? A level means curved. No, it means the opposite of that. It means flat. So how is 70% of the ball flat? How come when we measure the surface of the Earth, it isn't curving? The Earth's not a spinning ball. That's right. You're crazy. You don't think this waterfall is going upside down in a vacuum? By the way, guys, we checked the air. It's still good. It's still good. I know you guys are so deathly scared that you're hanging out with thousands of people. But anyway, you don't need the government's permission to breathe. In a world where no one knows what the world is, they think I'm crazy. So we've been offering all day $100 to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth right. Like elementary questions, what you learned when you were like 7. And you get $100 cash if you get the 3 questions correct. You don't have to pay to play. You don't have to pay if you don't win. $100 cash. And I'll even tell you what the first question is. You can Google it before you come up here if you don't know it. It's the easiest question I can think of. According to the globe Earth model, how many times does the Earth spin every day? How many times does the Earth spin every 24 hours? That's the first question. If you come up here and give us the right answer and then get the next 2 questions correct, you get $100 cash. I do this to make a point. Just like I heard someone making fun of me just a second ago. Most people, they'll attack me and say I'm stupid and crazy immediately, but they don't know anything about the globe Earth. They don't know anything about it. They can't win the $100. They don't know what they learned in elementary school. So how can you know that I'm crazy or stupid for not believing in the globe Earth if you don't know anything about the globe Earth? Isn't that kind of wild if you think about it? It's like telling me that the Bible's real, but I've never read Genesis before. I did read Genesis. We all studied the Earth for years. I've been looking into this for 5 years. It's not a spinning ball. We went and measured the surface. It's not curving. If the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? If a table has a surface that isn't curving, what's the table? Well, the Earth's not curving anywhere, so we got an issue. This is a big deal because that means all the countries are lying to you. That means that they told you you're not allowed to freely travel the Antarctic region. That means that the Earth's the center of everything that exists because it doesn't move, which means that it was created. So no, you didn't come from apes. That's dumb. You have a spirit. You're very metaphysically powerful. You're special. The Earth is special. It was created. It's beautiful. Look at this waterfall. Look how beautiful. Do you think that this just randomly happened? While it's tilted backwards, going upside down, spinning around in a vacuum. No, this was created. You were created. So this is a huge conversation. If the Earth isn't flat and not moving, it had to be created. It means that the major world superpowers are all lying together. You think everyone's lying? No. Okay, the teachers that teach the globe Earth, they're not lying. They think the Earth's a ball. The people that work at NASA, 95% of them are not lying. They just do their job. They have temperature data they record. They stitch together compositions. They do their job. They think they're telling the truth. It's called compartmentalization. They're on a need-to-know basis. That's how the military works. So no, not millions of people are in on the lie. Just a few people. Only 24 people in the history of mankind have even claimed to go past low Earth orbit. Could 24 people lie? Do you think 24 people could lie that work for the military? Of course, 24 people could lie. Have you ever heard of the Manhattan Project? Which I won't get into the specifics, it's kind of pseudoscience, but anyway. So, the Earth's not spinning. We have like a new group here, so I'll tell you guys the history of this fairy tale that the Earth's spinning. A lot of people think that we went to the moon in 1969, and then we turned around and we took a picture and proved the Earth was a globe. Now, I know a lot of people here already don't believe in the moon landing. Actually, 1 in 3 people at the time didn't believe in it. But there are still people in 2021 that believe we went to the moon. So anyway, the official story is that we went to the moon in 1969. We just can't go back again. World-renowned astronaut Don Pettit, verbatim quote, "I would go back to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is that we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back." That's the official story from NASA. They destroyed the technology. Of the biggest accomplishment in the history of mankind, they destroyed the technology, and they can't rebuild it. They can't do what they did in the 60s while I'm live streaming on an iPhone 12. Technology doesn't get worse. They also destroyed and lost all the telemetry data, which is the actual physical data of the supposed trip. They recorded over it and lost it. How convenient. They also claimed they brought moon rocks back, and they gifted them to different governments. One of them was Holland's government. Holland tested the moon rock, and it was actually petrified wood. So why are they giving fake moon rocks out if they went to the moon? Why can't they go back if they went in 69? Does this not seem kind of weird? This is getting weird. So most of you guys don't know this either, but supposedly the official story is that Nazis are the ones that took us to the moon. Did you know that? It's called Operation Paperclip. It's declassified. We brought Nazis over here after World War II. That's the official story. And that an SS officer of the Nazi regime by the name of Werner von Braun was put in charge of space exploration, and he took us to the moon. I guess the reason we can't go back to the moon is because we're fresh out of Nazis. What a bummer. We didn't hang the Nazis for war crimes. We revered them as scientific geniuses. Seems legit. Is this not sounding kind of weird to you guys? Nazis, they would never lie. Nazis would never lie. So we can't go back to the moon. Werner von Braun, the SS officer of the Nazi regime that we brought over here to take us to the moon, he also put Psalms 19:1 on his tombstone, which says, "The firmament shows the handiwork of the Creator." It's from the Bible, of course, Psalms 19:1. Well, in Hebrew, firmament comes from the word rakia, which means strong as bronze, an impenetrable firmament that stretched out like a tent over top of the earth. So why did the guy that took us to space, supposedly, put a Bible verse on his tombstone that says, you can't go to space because there's an impenetrable firmament? He let the cat out of the bag on his deathbed, but he knew most people wouldn't even apply the pattern recognition to realize how it applies to what he did. Something else Werner von Braun did when he wasn't trolling Americans about sending rockets into mediums that couldn't exist or mass murdering millions of people, he also wrote a science fiction book in the 50s. I want everyone to listen real carefully, okay? In the 1950s, the Nazi officer Werner von Braun that took us to the moon, he wrote a science fiction book. The main character's title is Elon, and in this book, Elon establishes the first civilization on Mars. Sound familiar? In 2021, we have a guy named Elon Musk that's supposedly about to take us to Mars. I guess when he wasn't busy mass murdering millions of people, he was also a prophet. So people call me a conspiracy theorist, but to believe the story, you have to be a coincidence theorist. You have to say that's just a coincidence. It's also just a coincidence that in the late 1800s, Jules Verne wrote a science fiction book that predicted the moon landing perfectly, where they would shoot the rocket from, what state over what body of water, how they would do it. Just a coincidence. So they basically write science fiction books and then tell you that they came true. There's also another science fiction book written in the 1800s that predicted Donald Trump being president, that people would go riot on the Fifth Avenue, and the main character, or one of the characters' names that he puts in his cabinet, his presidential cabinet, is Pence. This was written in the 1800s. That same author wrote another book called Baron Trump and His Adventures to the Middle Earth. Baron Trump is, of course, Donald Trump's son. So these guys that have tons of power, they're in the club you're not in, they write science fiction books, and then they tell you this story really happened, and they sit back and laugh, and most people still believe it. So in 2021, they showed you in black and white they went to the moon. This is where you should start, because if they lied about the moon, why'd they lie? Why did they lie about going to the moon if you can really go? If we didn't go to the moon and take a real picture of the Earth, that means we have no real pictures of the Earth, because NASA admits that what they show you now are just cartoons. That's what NASA says. So if you've ever heard of the blue marble, this is what started it off for me. I already knew the moon landing was fake, and then I found out that's the only supposed real picture under their own admission, which means we have no real pictures of the Earth from space. The blue marble is the most famous picture of the globe anyone's ever heard of, right? It's the default wallpaper. You'd have to actually offer some specificity for me to be wrong, my man. You can't go to space because that violates the second law of thermodynamics. You can have pressure adjacent to a near perfect vacuum without containers, so, let that one soak in. Anyway, so the blue marble was the default wallpaper on the first generation iPhone. It's the most seen picture ever. The blue marble, the Earth from space. Everyone assumes it's a real picture, but if you go to NASA's website, they say it is not a real picture. Okay, so you can Google it right now. Robert Simmons, blue marble, nasa.gov. It'll pop right up on their own website. What they say is they take high altitude pictures, they stitch it together on a flat map surface, they wrap it around a ball, they bring an artist in to do an artist rendition to match what the observer expects it to look like. Robert Simmons, the artist that did this, on that same page on NASA's website, verbatim quote, "Of course it's photoshopped because it has to be." But why does it have to be, bro? I thought we took a real picture in entirety of it in the 60s. So they admit there aren't even real pictures of the globe Earth. You think I'm crazy for not believing in it, and they don't even claim there are real pictures yet. It's like you believe in cartoons. Like, are you going to tell me Dora the Explorer is real? Dora's not real, bro. Superman's not real. Bob the Builder's not real. Cartoons of a globe in a vacuum aren't real. Okay, so this, if you're being honest right now, you have to admit, this story is getting a little wild. We took Nazis over here that took us to the moon supposedly, but we can't go back. That Nazi predicted Elon Musk taking us to Mars in the 50s, and they admit they don't have real pictures of the Earth, that they're just cartoons. That's what they say. So people laugh and they're like, this guy thinks that they're cartoons. That's what NASA says. Those are the ones that gave you the freaking quote-unquote pictures. They say they're not real pictures. They're composite images, computer-generated images, CGI. So that should be pretty weird to you. So one of the questions we get are like, would you fall off the Earth? That's what people's first question is. If there's what, when you fall off? Well, no real flat earther thinks you fall off the Earth. That's dumb. You can't go past the 60th south latitude. It's called the Antarctic Treaty. Every single major world superpower has signed it. It was signed in the 50s. The longest lasting peace treaty ever. and this is China, Russia, the United States, all these geopolitical adversaries. They put their differences aside to save the penguins, and they said it's illegal for the everyday human to go past the 60th south latitude. So we don't know anything about a theoretical edge. We do not claim this. What we do know is that Antarctica has the highest elevation of any continent in the world. We do know that someone named Captain Cook attempted to circumnavigate the Earth, and for 68,000 miles he went along an ice shelf. Okay? Well, that's convenient because fluid statics necessitates water conforms to its container and finds its level. Okay? That's fluid statics when water is level. It always tries to find its level. Well, the higher elevation of the ice wall contains the water, and it finds its level. You guys think there's nothing containing it, and that water bends convexly around the outside of a sphere as it spins around in a vacuum. But that's not how water works, bro. Water always finds its level. No matter which way I tilt this bottle, it's level, because water always finds its level. That's why we put fluid in levels. So how is 70% of a ball Earth water that's level? Now what you should say is gravity. You guys don't know anything about it, and I'm not like taking shots at you. None of us did until we researched it. You have just been trained to always say gravity. So let's talk about gravity. Most people would say gravity is mass attracting mass. That is not true anymore. That was superseded in 1915. The globe Earth does not use mass attracting mass anymore. It's called the theory of relativity. It says that gravity is the effect of the bending and warping of space-time. Okay? It has nothing to do with mass attracting mass. Gravity is not an intrinsic property of matter anymore. I don't want to get too technical, but anyway, gravity is just a theory. It doesn't have any scientific evidence. So then someone will say, look, and they'll drop something and say, there's gravity. No. When you drop something, it's more dense than the air, so it goes down. You're more dense than the air, so you stay on the ground. And if you jump up, you go back down to the ground. Helium balloons, well, they're less dense than the surrounding air. Helium is lighter than the surrounding air, so it goes up. Helium is not gravity-proof. It's just less dense than the surrounding air. It's called density disequilibrium. If I take a beach ball and I throw it up in the air, it falls back down to the ground. If I swim to the bottom of this water and let go of the beach ball, it will go up. That is because the dense water is more dense than the air in the beach ball, so it goes up. But since the beach ball is more dense than the air, it will fall down. Very simple. It's called density. There's actually an even more technical aspect of this conversation, but I'll just say it real fast. But it's something called electrostatics. Most of you guys have heard of that. If you walk up to someone scooting your feet, you can shock them. If you take a balloon and rub it on your hair, it'll stick to the wall. This is known, electrostatics, to be 10 to the 39th power stronger than gravity even claims to be. That's 39 zeros. Okay, now there's no way to isolate electrostatics and to control that variable. Everything is electrostatic. Wood, rubber, glass, everything. Your shoes, everything that is in existence that is material is electrostatic. This is a known fact. So if you can't control the variable and get rid of electrostatics, that's 10 to the 39th power stronger than gravity claims to be, how can you find gravity? How can you isolate it? This is why it's never been done. There's not one scientific experiment that has ever proven gravity. It's just a theory. It's constantly updated. It had to be changed in 1915. And actually, when we apply the theory of relativity to the quote-unquote universe, it's off by 95% in 2021. It's called dark matter and dark energy. They can't even mathematically get this fairy tale to work yet. So, no, I'm not crazy for not believing in it. You're crazy for believing in something that can't even be mathematically proposed yet. So the reason that people say they know gravity is real, it's not because there's scientific evidence for it. It's because they think they know the Earth's a ball. And if the immense power has to pull you down to the ball, it has to explain omnidirectionality, that you stick on the ball in all directions, right? Or you fall off of it. So although we can't isolate it or prove it, it has to be there because we know the Earth's the ball. That's the only quote-unquote proof for gravity that exists, is the presupposition that the Earth's the ball. Okay, so just keep all that in mind when I start to ask you these questions, and your default's always just to blindly invoke the deity of gravity. Gravity, right? So, anyway, you can't have water bending to the outside of a ball and then sticking to its outside. That's impossible. There has been $1 million reward offered by a flat earther for 2 straight years for anyone that can demonstrate water bending around the outside of a ball and sticking to it. $1 million, bro. $1 million. In fact, there was another prize offer for about 10 grand to prove the Earth's a ball. Someone thought they could do it. They took him to court to get the money, And the court ruled that there is no empirical evidence that the Earth's a globe. This is a literal court ruling that happens. So the court says there's no evidence. Science says there's no evidence. All observations say there's no evidence. But the Nazis went there in the 60s. That's the only quote-unquote proof that there is. You have to blindly believe Nazis that said they went to the moon in 1969 whenever the waves flagging on the moon, the flag's waving, and then they fall down on the ground and get jerked back up on harnesses, and they played golf on the moon. That's a fairy tale. That's not real. Then they called the president from 238,000 miles away and talked to him on a landline with no delay. I documented 2 SpaceX launches this year. There was a 1.5 second delay while they were just now getting off the ground. How could you possibly talk to someone with no delay in a landline in 1969 from 250,000 miles away? You couldn't. Okay, so now that we've discussed that the supposed proof is that we went to the moon, and that's clearly not real. You know, how dare you question we went to the moon? What have you done, millennial? Well, I get that all the time. People get real triggered about the moon. Like, why are you mad at me, bro? I didn't film a movie in the studio and say we went to the moon. I'm just telling you they lied, bro. All right. So we actually measured the surface of the Earth. This is why government admitted that they censor flat Earth. It's actually not a debate. It's something you can test. You can prove it or you can falsify it. It's something you can literally go find out for yourself. So a lot of us started to do that with P900s and P1000s and measured the Earth, and we found out we see way too far. The Earth's not curving. So very simply, if I walk up to a hill, I can't see through the hill to the other side. I can't see through the hill, right? Unless you have X-ray vision. So that's what the Earth has to do if it's a ball. It has to curve and block your view. It has to physically obstruct your view with curvature. And it has to do this at a certain rate because they claimed a certain size of the Earth. But it doesn't do that. We went and measured to see if that curvature is where it's supposed to be, and it simply is not. There's a few of the observations over here, I think. One of the observations is we see the skyline of Chicago from 60 miles away over Lake Michigan, and based on the globe Earth math, it should be entirely obstructed by Earth curvature, yet we see the entire skyline. Oh, I'm crazy though. We also have another observation in France where we see mountains from 200 miles away. Based on the globe Earth math, it should have been blocked by 1 mile of Earth curvature. Do you guys know how big a mile is? Well, there should have been a mile of vertical obstruction blocking the mountains if the Earth is what they said it is. We saw the entire mountains top to bottom from 200 miles away. What's up with that? Oh, this ball's just flat everywhere, I guess. We see way too far. So when we went out and we measured the Earth and we tested it, we falsified what they said. So then the government had to react, and under their own admission, they censor flat Earth because it's quote-unquote dangerous misinformation. You know what's dangerous about it? It shows that they're lying. It's not misinformation. You can go verify it for yourself. Now, most of you guys won't. Most of you guys will just leave here and say, who cares, and post a pic for the gram. But I do this for those with the ears to hear, you know. Some of you guys may be listening. So you can go test the Earth for yourself. I actually don't want you to just blindly believe the Earth is flat by listening to me. That's what got us into this mess. No real flat earther will ever tell you to do that. We'll actually all tell you, go research it for yourself, go test the Earth for yourself, and you will find out for a fact it is not curving. You should do your own non-biased research. So like the 2 most popular Google terms in 2016 were 2015, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Flat Earth was right behind it. And so it started getting out, people started testing it, they started realizing there's no evidence for this globe Earth, they started realizing that all the major countries agreed on the Antarctic Treaty, they don't let us travel, but they're supposedly enemies. They started realizing the moon landing is easily debunked. They started realizing NASA admits they're just cartoons, not real pictures. And so the government had to react, and they censor it now. So now when you Google flat Earth, you won't find good information. You'll find 10 reasons we know the Earth's not flat. You'll find, when did we prove the Earth was a ball? You'll find Flat Earth Society, which is a misinformation group. There's not one real flat earther in the Flat Earth Society. It's all fake. They say that we think we can fall off the edge. No flat earther thinks that. They say that we think that it's a disk in a solar system with spherical planets. No flat earther thinks that. They say that we think the disk goes up 9.8 meters per second squared in a vacuum. No flat earther thinks that. So if flat Earth is so stupid, why would you have to put out a fake group to make stupid arguments to make them look stupid? Why wouldn't you just let people find out that they're stupid? It's because it isn't stupid, it's provable, it's scientifically verifiable, and millions of us already exist. So they had to try to put the lid on it. There's 16 million flat earthers in Brazil alone. There's hundreds of millions of flat earthers, but what they do is they kick me off of PayPal and kick me off of Venmo and kick me off of YouTube and Facebook and IG and Twitter, right? They kick us all off of everything. They shadow ban us. They make where our numbers don't go up. They attack my streams midstream. That way you can't find out how many there really are. It's hard to find us. And you guys think, most of you guys are like, wait, people actually exist that think the Earth's flat? Yeah, hundreds of millions of people that actually researched the globe Earth model in depth and then went and tested. So anyway, I'm offering $100 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. No strings attached. You know, the first question is how many times does the Earth spin every day? $100 cash, $100 cash. Maybe I should bump it up to 1,000 or something. Jeez Louise. If someone comes and gets 1,000, I'm gonna be sick. All right, $200 cash from anyone who can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. $200. $200. You don't have to pay to play. You don't have to pay me if you don't get it right. $200 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. Dun dun dun. All right, so you guys call me. You guys should wonder why I'm so confident offering you $200. Because I know none of you know anything about it. That's why you still think it's a ball. I'm not attacking you. All of us used to think the Earth was a ball, but what you'll find out is anyone that's actually researched it and tested it and are informed on the position, they're flat earthers. I only looked into flat Earth to prove the Earth was a globe. I thought it was the dumbest thing I had ever heard. Well, here I am 5 years later, knowing for a fact that they lied about the Earth. And that's where you're going to be. I will be honest with you from the jump. People are going to like attack you and call you stupid, but you know, you shouldn't make decisions based on what other people think. Weak people always attack stronger, independent people. Don't worry about what other people think. Just worry about what the truth is. So people think this is a crazy conspiracy theory, and what I say is that actually, to believe this, once you are presented with the information, you have to be a coincidence theorist. So here's one of the coincidences. Luciferian Masons said that the Earth's a ball. All right, okay, if you ever heard of Masons, if you ever heard of Luciferians, 33rd degree Mason, you have to be a Luciferian. Anyway, and maybe you've heard of the number 666. So let's see how many times this globe Earth model that's been debunked coincidentally has the number 666 in it. The diameter of the moon is 2160, which is 6 times 6 times 60. The circumference of the Earth in nautical miles is 21,600. That's 6 times 6 times 600. There's supposed curvature rate up to 1,000 miles of 0.666 feet per mile squared. The North and South Arctic circles are at 66.6 degrees. We're supposedly going around the sun 66,600 miles per hour on a 66.6 degree tilt, wobbling using gravity discovered in 1666 by Isaac Newton when an apple fell on his head, and the number for gravity is 6.66. What a coincidence. There's also something else called a stellar eclipse that happens. The globe Earth says that the way you have a lunar eclipse is the sun is blocked by the Earth and casts a shadow onto the moon. Well, there's something called the stellar eclipse, or the impossible eclipse is what NASA calls it. And the sun and the moon are both above the horizon during the eclipse. This is geometric impossibility. Anyway, they say that the stellar eclipse was first recorded in 1666. What a coincidence. So you guys think that those are repetitive coincidences? Because that's actually an oxymoron. You can't have repetitive coincidences. So you would have to be a coincidence theorist to believe this. If I ask most people, I say, does the government lie? Almost everyone says yes. I'm like, does the government ever lie? Everyone says yes. So I'm like, then why would we blindly believe NASA? Oh, they're different. That's the one governmental agency that wouldn't lie. That's crazy, bro. That's insane. Of course they lie. They brought Nazis over here. They show you cartoons and admit they're cartoons. They doctored their temperature recordings back to the 50s to say that the Earth was warming up. So if anybody wants to win $200, you just got to come up here and answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. You get $200. Of course, there's a couple rules. You can't sit here and Google it in front of me. But it's pretty simple. They're really simple questions. They're like the basic questions. No big deal. So we'll talk about something else. The time lapse of the star trails. You can Google that, star trails. The stars, they do the same thing every year. They all circle around Polaris, the North Pole star, and then they reset in the same location every single year for thousands of years. The Egyptians built megalithic structures that line up with the same stars they do today. They reset every single year. We have 77 constellations because they're constant. Okay? They reset every single year. The sky is a clock. And it all goes around Polaris, which is right over the North Pole, which is the center of the surface of the Earth. And it's been the same for all recorded history. So that means that the Earth isn't moving and the sky moves over top of it and it has a cycle. Okay, what they say is that the stars are actually sitting still and that we're spinning and revolving and the sun's shooting through space while the galaxy shoots through space. But we just never see the stars change because it would take billions of years, just believe me. The truth is they have to say it would take billions of years. They have to say things are thousands of light years away. It's a mandatory minimum, right? Like to make the math work, they have to say that the lights are thousands of light years away. They didn't go measure the stars, bro, okay? What they tell you is that most of the stars you see, they're actually not there anymore. They just look like that. You guys have never really thought about how this applies to your everyday life, and once you do, and you walk through life thinking about it, you'll never unsee it. So for the globe Earth to be real, that means this waterfall is tilted backwards, going upside down. Do you guys think this waterfall is going upside down? Who thinks the waterfall is going upside down? Whenever you see the sun set, okay, you see the sun move through the sky at noon, it's directly overhead, which is why it's warmer, because it's local. And then it moves further away from you, gets a little cooler. And then eventually it vanishes in the horizon, we have a sunset. Have you guys ever seen a sunset? Well, what the globe Earth says is when you see the sunset, that the sun's actually sitting still. And it just looks like it's moving in the sky because you're falling backwards 1,000 miles an hour. Is that what you experience when you see a sunset? That it's sitting still, but you're falling backwards 1,000 miles an hour? That's insane, bro. But like I said, most guys no one ever really thinks about this. Something else, you'll see that the sun and the moon are the same size in the sky. They're exactly the same size. So what the globe Earth claims is that the globe Earth model, it claims the sun is actually 400 times bigger than the moon. 400 times bigger. They just look like they're the same size because it's coincidentally exactly 400 times further away also. So they look like they're the same size. You know what the other option is? That they're the same size. And when you see the sun move in the sky, you're not falling backwards during a sunset, it's just moving away from you in the sky. And whenever you look out over large bodies of water, you will see the horizon, and the horizon's always horizontal, which is where the word horizon comes from, horizontal horizon, right? Okay, so you have to believe, well, it looks horizontal, but it's actually curving, I just can't see it. You know what the other option is? It's horizontal. And if you have a bottle of water, what you can do right now is you can tip it over and you'll see that no matter what direction you go, the water will find its level the whole way, no matter what angle you hold it. Because water always finds its level. So when you look out large bodies of water at rest in the ocean or moving slightly, you will see that they are level. But they say, well, it's just so big you can't see it. You know what the other option is? Water is finding its level, and it's level and flat like you see it is. So whenever you see the stars move in the sky, there's two options. Either the stars are moving in the sky, or actually they're sitting still and you're spinning 1,000 miles per hour and it just looks like that. When you see stars in the sky, one of the options is that you're seeing the lights in the sky. The other option is that half of them are actually not there anymore, it just looks like that. Are you guys starting to see how ridiculous this is? So to believe this, we would have to have some good evidence, right? Because it's the opposite of everything we've ever observed. It has no empirical evidence, you can't test it. We need some real scientific evidence to show us that the Earth's a ball, and we're going to believe the opposite of everything that we've ever experienced, right? If we're going to believe that the sun's not moving and I'm falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour and that Niagara Falls is actually tilted backwards going upside down in a vacuum, if we're going to believe that this waterfall is going upside down, I'm going to need a little evidence, bro, because it's clearly not. It's called a waterfall, not a water rise, right? The water's falling, trying to find its level. So what's the evidence? So this is how you become a flat earther. You try to go find the evidence of the Earth being a ball, being a globe. That's all you got to do. It doesn't exist. That's why I broke down in the beginning about the whole story about how we went to the moon. They supposedly took a picture. They claim that's the only real picture of the Earth from space in entirety is from the moon missions. But they faked the moon missions, and that's why they can't go back, and that was in 1969. They admit they can't go back. It's too dangerous, and they destroyed the technology, and they brought Nazis over here in Operation Paperclip and put one of the SS officers in charge of the moon mission. This is all declassified. If you go to NASA's website, they say the pictures aren't real. So what is the proof the Earth's a ball? Can anyone provide any evidence that the Earth's a ball? I actually know someone that's offering 2 Bitcoins for anyone to give one proof that the Earth's a ball. 2 Bitcoins. I know someone offering $1 million if you can demonstrate the water bending around the outside of a ball and sticking to it while it spins. I'm out here giving you, I don't got Bitcoins, but I'll give you a couple $100 if you can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth model. Like the official story, right? Like, you don't have to prove it or anything because that's impossible, right? It's a very winnable bet. I'm asking you, it's not even a bet. You don't have to pay me. Just you get $200 if you get the questions right. I bumped it up from 100. I guess that's not working. Neither is 200. I've been offering the money all around the United States and no one ever gets the money. A lot of people do play the game. I mean, people are really timid here, but people usually play the game, but they never get the answers right. It's just to make a point that if you're being honest, you don't really know anything about it. You don't really know anything about the globe Earth. You don't know anything about if the Earth can be flat. You were just told that flat Earth is stupid. You were just shown a meme that said if the Earth was flat, cats would have already pushed everything off of it. You were shown a picture with a disc around spheres, and you're like, that's stupid. Well, yeah, it is stupid. That's not what we think. That's dumb, right? You were shown that in elementary school, they showed you people used to think the Earth was flat, and they show you a cartoon of a boat falling off the edge. No one thinks that. That's stupid. So when you hear flat Earth, you think it's stupid, right? But you don't know anything about the conversation. You've just been engineered to think that. So the Earth is provably flat. It's not curving anywhere. We measure the Earth everywhere. If the Earth isn't curving in Kansas or Cali or Florida or Tennessee or Georgia or Japan or Russia or China, then where is it curving? Jeez Louise. If the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? Some people actually say, well, we have mountains. What are you talking about? Yeah, we have mountains and valleys. It's called topography. It's a topographical plane. The Earth is overall flat. We have topography, all right? All the oceans are flat. That's what water does. It finds its level. That's why no one can win the $1 million to show how water could bend around a ball. It's impossible. It's scientifically impossible. It's impossible. It would never happen. So if the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, when we measure the surface of the Earth using plane survey data, which is how we know distances, that's how we have maps, we always have to assume the Earth is flat. We drop what's called a plumb line, which is a vertical line down to the ground, assuming a horizontal plane, right, that it's perpendicular to measure the Earth. You have to assume the Earth is flat to measure it, to have maps, to have distances. Whenever the military uses a map to travel or to navigate, they use a flat Earth map. Whenever they have to go attack the bad guy or shoot some missiles, they use Cartesian coordinates on a flat map surface central to their location. All this is declassified. Whenever they come up with military patents for any type of technology, they assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. You can Google all this for yourself. So why is the military spending billions of dollars on technology that wouldn't work? That makes no sense. There's another paper called Electromagnetic Propagation over Flat Earth, where the military developed weapon systems of towers, right, using electromagnetic propagation. And in order to do this, they had to assume the Earth was flat. That's the only way the towers would work. Because you're sitting out electromagnetic propagation, you'd have to account for the Earth curving. Well, they don't. So this wouldn't work if the Earth's not flat, if you assume the Earth's flat. You know why they're called airplanes? Because they fly over a plane. They also use a gyro, which has its rigidity in space, requiring the Earth be not moving and flat. Whenever you fly a plane, you don't dip your nose down as you go over a ball. You just fly assuming it's flat. You actually have an artificial horizon, which is horizontal, to fly a plane. So you can't fly a plane assuming that the Earth's a ball. You would actually have to account for the fact it's spinning 1,000 miles per hour east. If you're going east, you'd be going with it. If you're going west, you're going away from it. Wouldn't you have to account for the Earth's spin when you fly a plane? Well, the military documents say you can never do this. Any pilot that they don't actually see the curvature or account for spin. They just believe there's a ball and that you just can't tell or you just wouldn't know. So why are there thousands of military documents that say that the Earth is flat? Why is there something called Operation Fishbowl, where they tried to shoot missiles up to get past what they said was a firmament, meaning a container, and that they all exploded around 62 miles and they couldn't get through it? Why did the government say that? Why are they lying about the Earth having a firmament? Why did they say, based on a Russian scientist, they had an approximation method to actually determine the brightness of the firmament, and the method was proven to be accurate? How can you determine the brightness of something that doesn't exist? The military knows what the Earth is. Whenever they go get the bad guys and people's lives are at stake, they assume that it's flat. There's something called the rail gun that the military has. It can actually shoot 100 miles away. Impossible on a globe Earth. They account for the drop in a bullet, no drop in the surface of the Earth. So isn't this kind of getting crazy? They claim they went to the moon with Nazis, but they can't go back, and that's the only proof we have. We've gone out and independently measured the Earth. It's never curving. We see way too far. Every time you see anything it's flat. You see the horizon's horizontal. You don't feel like you're moving. The military always assumes the Earth is a flat, non-rotating surface. There's millions of dollars that that are offered to prove that you could have water spinning around a ball. This was actually taken to court, and the court determined that there's no proof the Earth's a globe. So what's going on? Isn't this getting crazy? Let's be real. It's very simple. The Earth isn't spinning. That's why you don't feel like you're spinning. So most people ask, like, why would they lie? Why does this matter? Who cares? I got to post a pic for the gram and get back to my Netflix show. The reason that it matters is it means that all the major countries are lying together, right? Because they've all agreed you can't travel past the 60th south latitude. It's a circle around you. It's called the Antarctic Treaty. You can't travel there. If you guys attack us that are trying to wake you up to this, you're actually defending tyrannical, totalitarian governments that have told you that you're not allowed to travel. You know the same ones that gave you lockdowns? You're so free, you went in lockdown like a good little slave. Yay. Well, nice obedience, man. We're so free, we have prison terms now. We have lockdowns like prisons do, and curfews like 12-year-olds do, and then the government has to tell us what we're allowed to wear. And no, the government would never try to take over. No, the government's our best friend. So when I say that they're tyrannical, you're like, you laugh? But literally, were you not here for the last 15 months? We have lockdowns, like prisons. You guys are still walking around scared of the air. So scared, so deathly scared that you're hanging out with thousands of people. No, you just go along to get along, and that's the problem. If we keep doing that, we're going to lose our rights. That's why I've had to put my business on hold and go around and travel to the U.S. because I'm being censored. So I'm trying to wake you up. It's out of love. And the reason that this is a big deal is, for one, it shows that the major world superpowers are all lying to you. Another really big point, and of course my personal motivation why I think it's the most important, a lot of you guys think that you're atheist, which literally doesn't even exist. But anyway, that means you have to know for a 100% fact that there is no creator. Can anyone say they know for a 100% fact that there's no creator? Of course not. So you're agnostic. I hate to bust your bubble. But anyway, so if the Earth is geocentric, because it doesn't move, and the sky resets over top of us for all recorded history, that means it's the center of everything that exists. Well, if it's the center of everything that exists, how did it get there? Someone had to put it there. It's the only viable option. If the Earth is, and it probably is, flat and not moving, then the Earth is geocentric. That means the center of everything, and that means someone put it there. The Earth had to be created. There's no other way. Now, you probably wouldn't be as easy to brainwash and make slaves if you knew there was a creator. I don't know. Maybe that's why they lied. Why they lie doesn't really matter. That's independent of the fact that they did lie. But the Earth is the center of everything. So what that means is that the Earth is a very, very beautiful, special place. This is one of the 7 great wonders on the Earth. It's pretty beautiful. It didn't just pop out of nowhere. It's also not tilted backwards, going upside down. Right? The Earth is very beautiful. And it was created for us. And humans have domain on the Earth, which means that you're very beautiful, you're very special, and you're very powerful. Now, if everyone knew that, we probably wouldn't be easy to take over, would we? It's something called nihilism. Have you ever heard of nihilists? Apathy. It means to not care about anything. Most people are nihilist or materialist. They think that there's nothing outside of the material world, right? And if you're nihilist, you're easier to brainwash because you don't care about anything. Who cares? Because everything came from nothing. I came from apes. Lightning struck some soup, and then I turned to humans from rodents. They actually say your ancestors are rats. So anyway, there's like a little brief address of why they would lie. Because it's the number one question people ask. Why would they lie? I don't know, why wouldn't they lie? When does the government not lie? How about that? Why would the government not lie? Why did the government lie about 9/11? Why did the government tell us that we had weapons of mass destruction in the Middle East and then come out and admit that, no, we were wrong, they're not actually there? But we have a 20-year war. Why did the government lie about weapons of mass destruction? The government would never lie, except for murdering millions of people. Why did the government lie about the Vietnam War? They said that Vietnam attacked our ship, and then they've now come out and declassified, admitted themselves, Vietnam did not attack our ship. We actually attacked our own ship in a false flag attack to make it look like it was Vietnam so we could justify going to war with them. This is declassified. Wow, that sounds like some people I can trust. Why does the government lie about everything? And most of you guys are like, I went to school and this was in my textbook. You mean the same textbooks that told you Christopher Columbus discovered America when people already lived here? You know who's over a public schooling system? The government. profound. The government always lies. Every government lies. So instead of asking why would they lie, you should just not worry about ridicule or what other people think, because usually weak people will attack you. You should just look at the evidence, find out if they lied, then try to figure out why they lied. We give NASA $60 million every single day. Every day. Do you know how much good could be done with $60 million? Maybe Flint, Michigan would have some clean water. No, we got to go to the fake moon again. We just never will. $60 million every day. But actually, overall, with how much money the government steals, that's like nothing. So that's not really my argument of why they lie. Like, the government steals way more money than that. But they told you that the Earth's a ball and has a finite amount of space, and you can't go past the 60 south latitude. So there's nowhere to explore. We've explored it all. So they're hiding land and they're hiding resources. Land is the most valuable thing that exists. I don't know if you guys know that. Have you ever heard, if you know some wealthy people, one of the things that they'll tell you is, well, you know what they say, one thing that they're not making any more of is land. Land is the most valuable asset that exists. And then you can get into gold and silver and clean water. Land is the most valuable. That's where you get the gold from. They're hiding huge pieces of land potentially and resources. So why would the governments not lie to hide land and resources? They start wars for that very thing all the time. You mean like how we just threw our troops all in the Middle East and took over everything and put centralized banking systems in there? The government always lies for land. Every single war throughout history almost has been fought over land. So if they're hiding land, that sounds like a pretty easy way to explain why they lied. Also, it's just really easy to brainwash you if you don't know how to trust your senses. like I feel still, but I'm spinning, I promise. It's like just easy to brainwash. You have to turn to authority to get all your answers, because you can no longer determine the difference between truth and fiction. Has a psychological ramification. You cannot trust your own senses. You can't trust your own observations or your own evidence that's accessible. You have to always turn to the authority to get your orders and get your truth of the world. It makes it easier to brainwash. That's why you guys turn the news on every day to get your daily orders. You're like, okay, let me get my kicks and my wallet and my keys. Where's my mask? You guys do whatever the government says. Oh, I mean the news. Because Operation Mockingbird is declassified. The CIA took over the news. Did you guys know that? So do you watch Fox News or CNN? Neither one of them. They are both working for the CIA. This is declassified. It's called Operation Mockingbird. It's over 600 pages. Okay, 600-page document. Operation Mockingbird, declassified from the 70s. They admit the CIA took over mainstream media to control the public narrative for national security purposes. Actually, whenever they were asked about this in Congress, the CIA representative was asked, so are you saying that the news anchors are actually CIA agents? And he said, we'll have to continue this conversation behind closed doors. This is recorded. You can go watch it. You can go read Operation Mockingbird. So you guys wake up every morning and you watch the TV and they lie to you, they scare you, they give you orders, they divide us based on race, which is, in my opinion, not even real. We just have different colors of skin, but I digress. They divide you based on red or blue or right or left or whatever they can, right? Because they divide and conquer. And the news is telling you how to do this. They're also giving you your orders, which is why most of you guys are still scared of the air. Just 2 weeks, so we'll get back to normal. I mean, 15 months. So this is how they've successfully brainwashed you. Textbooks, governmental schooling, and the news and media. You guys still watch the news every day thinking that it tells you the truth, and the CIA came out 50 years ago and admitted they took it over. You watch the CIA every day. Well, who's your favorite CIA agent? I like Anderson Cooper. It actually tracks back to the Vanderbilt family. Very wealthy billionaire family. So anyway, yeah, you should probably not blindly believe what's on the news. You shouldn't blindly take orders from the government. You shouldn't blindly believe whatever story they tell you about how they went to the moon in '69, but they can't go back. You guys think I'm crazy, but you guys think that we went to the moon in 1969, but we just can't go back. What are you talking about, bro? I guess we're fresh out of Nazis. We need some more Nazis to go to the moon. So anyway, there you go. I know a lot of you think it's crazy when I tell you what it is, but the truth is the Earth is flat. It's not moving. We've tested it for many years. There are tens of millions of us all over the world. There's 16 million alone in Brazil. The government admits they censor it. You can't find it when you Google it. There are no real pictures of the Earth. They claim they're just cartoons on NASA's own website, so you've never even seen a picture of a globe Earth because they claim it doesn't exist. They claim that that's just a cartoon they show you. So it's getting kind of weird. And if you think the Earth's a spinning ball, then you have to think that this waterfall is tilted backwards going upside down, which is like, it's like so crazy. Like, it like melts my mind. You think this waterfall is going upside down right now in a vacuum that spins? What a cool world. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna take another break, but we're offering $100, or actually I moved it up to $200 because everyone's scared. $200 cash, so I'll give you $200 if you can come up here and answer 3 basic questions about the correctly. $200 cash. You don't have to pay to play. You don't have to pay me if you're wrong. $200 cash. Just 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. So you think I'm crazy? I don't think the Earth's a globe. Just come prove you at least know something about it, right? Because I know all about it. If you tell me I'm crazy for not believing in it, but you know nothing about it, it's like telling me you know the Bible's real, but you've never read Genesis. I'm not going to respect your opinion about the book. I read the book. I studied the globe Earth model. I tested it. I measured the surface of the Earth. I've been kicked off every major platform you can think of for telling people the truth about the Earth. So anyway, there you go. We have a whole lot of information. If you want to, you can come up here. You can snap a picture of this. It gives you a lot of the basics. We also have cards with QR codes. The only way you will find the information is if you talk to a real flat earther that can point you in the right direction. It's all censored. If you try to find my channel on YouTube, you won't find it. This is actually the backup channel because my other one is currently struck. So I had to go on my backup channel. I've been kicked off PayPal, Venmo. Most of us are censored. Most of us have been kicked completely off of YouTube. In Congress, they admitted they censor YouTube, or censor Flat Earth. And all you ever find is misinformation like the Flat Earth Society, which doesn't have one real Flat Earther in it. So anyway, if you want the real information, we have QR codes up here. We have basic little pamphlets that tell you the information. We have a sign up here. So I encourage you not to be worried about what everyone else thinks. Most of you guys won't come up here and even read the sign because it's like embarrassing or whatever. Like, I can talk on a microphone and let thousands of people pretend I'm crazy. You guys can't come read a sign or get a business card, right? Like, what's the worst that can happen? You're going to learn about this, and maybe you can agree or disagree once you research it. So I'll give you the business cards. I'll give you with the QR codes if you want to come up here. And if anybody wants to try to win the money, you can come up here and answer the questions.
I want to win the money.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm curious about the flat earther thing. Yeah,
Cool, man.
I think it's a ball. I think it's a round spinning ball.
Yeah.
Tell me, give me some information.
All right, well, we went and measured the Earth. It doesn't curve anywhere, my man. So, like, you know how water always finds its level, right? See, it's still level, still level, still level. They say 70% of the Earth is an ocean. How is the ocean flat on a ball? It also has to curve at 8 inches per mile squared, up to 1,000 miles. It has to curve at a certain rate. I hid this because it's got the, like, this is going to mind me go crazy. It has the dimensions at some of the questions, but this shows you the curvature rate right here. Okay, it has to curve at that certain rate. You can just type in Earth curve calculator or whatever on your phone. It doesn't do that, bro. We measure it everywhere. In Japan, China, Australia, the US, East Coast, West Coast, you name it. We have observations all over the Earth where it doesn't curve at that rate. So it literally can't be the size ball they said it is. It can't be. And if the radius is wrong, you know, the radius is the distance from the center to the edge, it's wrong. The whole model's wrong. Gravity requires that number. Day and night cycle requires that number. Distance on the Earth requires that number. To ever go to quote-unquote space, you have to have a radius of orbit. You need an accurate radius value. So we falsify the radius. That's why it's censored. It's not really a debate. Yeah. You can measure it yourself too, you know. You will have a whole bunch of questions though, because it changes pretty much everything. You know, you got to do a lot of research. Most people are frankly too lazy, but you know, it's all good. The government always lies, bro. This would be the one exception.
No curvature.
No curvature.
So how's the flat? And where is Antarctica at anyway?
There's a circle around you on a flat Earth that would be the 60th south latitude. Antarctica's beyond that. So it looks like there's a giant ice ring around us. Someone tried to navigate it, and Captain Cook, he went 68,000 miles, and there was just an ice shelf the whole way. So there's a higher elevation ice shelf that contains the oceans, and it's illegal for you to go there to see. Because that would prove the Earth's a ball, right? Like you would come up on the other side of Antarctica, and you'd pop up on the other side of the sphere. It's illegal to even try to do that. They also could just zoom in on a plane flying upside down, but they'll never do that either. Yeah. So the Earth's not a ball, bro. It's illegal for you to even try to figure out what it is. You want a card? Anybody else want a card? Cards.
So what do you think when they flying out of space? They go through this capsule that we got on the top of the Earth or something like that?
They can't go through it.
Is it a dome or something? Or we crack
It looks
through
like
the
it could be a
ceiling or
dome.
something?
I don't think you can crack it now. Like I've documented 2 SpaceX rocket launches this year. It just goes up and comes back over. So they shoot it out over the ocean where you can't verify where it goes. Typically they shoot it towards the Bermuda Triangle where it's illegal to go, right? Because it's so dangerous. They don't let you go there. And anyway, so the rocket just goes up and it comes back down. It's called a parabolic trajectory. There's no proof it's going out into a space vacuum or any of that nonsense. Yeah.
Just like the guy that jumped out of the plane in the balloon and he went up so high
Yeah,
and then jumped out.
Felix Baumgartner.
Yeah.
Yeah. He jumped from 128,000 feet, and if you look at it, which is pretty dope, he like passes out and everything. But if you look at it, it shows it like the Earth's a ball. It looks like the Earth's a ball, and he's in the edge of space. But we send up high altitude balloons at 120,000 feet, like right around the same, right? 128,000, 120,000, and the horizon's always flat. Like we did this thousands of times, flat earthers. So then they came out. Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you've ever heard of him, the really famous quote unquote scientist. He came out and he said, well, a lot of people think they saw the curvature of the Earth in the Felix Baumgartner jump, but you would never see it from that height. You'd be 2 millimeters off this beach ball, and up there that stuff would be freaking flat. So they had to come out and admit that it was the fisheye lens of the GoPro that made it look curved. Like you could look at this rock that's flat and make it look curved on that GoPro we have, right? It's just a fisheye lens. And so they did that up there. And most people just watch it and they're like, wow, that's crazy. He's in space next to a ball, right? Well, we went and tested it. So they had to come out and say, oh, no, that wasn't actually the curvature of the Earth. It just looked like that. It would be flat up there. So, like, why'd they show the whole world that it was curved? You know what I'm saying? Why would they show us that?
All right, one last question.
Good.
All these satellites, so where the hell are they flying at?
That's a good question.
Are they going in orbit around, just not so much the ball, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Or something? I don't know.
Yeah, satellites.
I'm trying to figure it out too.
That's a good question, bro.
I'm like you. I'm with you. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. You should ask that question. So what about satellites is the question. So they move over top of the Earth, and they're almost, it appears, always connected to balloons. Okay, so if you go to NASA's website, they have something called the Satelloon projects, which they send up balloons. NASA buys.
All of them just send up on balloons.
Yes.
High altitude.
Absolutely. NASA buys more helium than everyone else in the world. They buy 90% of the world's helium. And so they just shoot balloons up there. There's something called the Google Loon Project. It happened in 2018. And so to give internet to people in like a remote area, I think it was in like Africa, they had to send balloons up to give them internet. But I thought we had satellites, bro, you know? And actually, they've been seen crashing out of the sky, satellites attached to balloons, like over 10 times, like on mainstream news and everything. They've been seen crashing out of the sky. So they're high altitude balloons. People think that GPS uses satellites. People think their cell phones use satellites. No, they don't. You know, they admit that they don't use satellites, that 99% of all transmissions come from towers and underground cables and wires and undersea cables and wires. So if you had satellites, why would you have to put underground or undersea cables and wires everywhere? You would just have satellites over the water. Well, they can't do that. So they have high altitude balloons and towers, and that's how you have everything. And there's no satellite flying in space. They also say that most of them are what's called geostationary, which means that it's supposedly moving at the perfect speed, that it stays in the same location, effectively still. But the other option is, of course, the balloon's just floating over the Earth. You know. Yeah.
This card give us all kind of info, huh?
Yeah, that QR code, it'll take you to an app and all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Much love, bro. You guys have any questions? You think it sounds crazy? You want a card? Oh, dang, you're gonna curve my card? You want a card? Got a QR code on it. I get it sounds crazy. I thought it was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard, but it is not. 5 years later, I'm out here on a microphone. See, the sun is just smaller than they said. It's closer than they said. And so it moves over top of you like a light bulb. Like, say I have a light bulb right here, shining on the ground. You can't see it from way over there.
Where do you have, because I want to.
Or do you have what?
With the sun that it's close on, or where do you have, plan on doing?
Well, we see the sun move at 15 degrees per hour over top of the Earth. We can measure it. Like it just moves over top of the Earth and comes back. So we can. Well, the globe Earth and flat Earth are the same. The sun has the same movement in the sky. And so everyone agrees on that. So it's in like the flat Earth, globe Earth basket. But the difference is the globe Earth says it looks like it's the same size as the moon, but it's actually 400 times bigger, just coincidentally 400 times further away, and that it's 93 million miles away. So how did you figure that out? Did they go stick a ruler 93 million miles away? Did they fly to the sun? No.
How did you figure it out? Like the letter, like the geometric?
No, we don't claim to know the distance actually, because it's just the apparent location. So to use like geometry, you would use trigonometry to find the distance of something, but you have to know the actual physical location. But we just have the apparent location of the sun, so we just know where it moves over top of us. There's actually an app called, if you go to Flat Earth on like your iPhone, Apple Store, or whatever, it'll pop up. It'll show you where the sun and the moon are over the flat Earth at any time of day in any location. It's always accurate. It's on that QR code. Yeah. So like the sun and the moon, they look the same size, right? Like the sun and the moon, they're the same size in our sky. They say that they're the same size, that we can have perfect eclipses. So that again, Flat Earth and Globe Earth both agree on that. What they say, so what Flat Earthers say is that the sun and the moon are the same size. And they claim that actually the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon. It's just a perfect coincidence that it's also 400 times further away, so they look like they're the same size.
How would you explain solar eclipse?
Yeah, how do we explain eclipses? I don't know. It's just a phenomenon that happens in the sky. It looks like there's...
It works out.
This is going to get funny. You guys should hold off on the laughs. The Globe Earth model actually can't predict eclipses. They use what's called the Saros cycle, which is a flat Earth geocentric civilization from 2500 BC. NASA still uses something from 2500 BC. The eclipses just happen in a reoccurring cycle, right? Now what they claim to people that came up with the cycle is that there's something that you can't see with the naked eye, that once it eclipses, there's another effectively body that eclipses these things, okay? Now what the Globe Earth claims is like in the lunar eclipse, that the sun is blocked by the Earth and it casts a shadow onto the moon, right? In a lunar eclipse. Well, we have something called the selenian eclipse. So where the lunar eclipse, the sun and the moon are both up above the Earth during the eclipse. So how would the Earth block the sun's light onto the moon if the sun and the moon are up above it? It's literally impossible. Eclipses do nothing but debunk the Globe Earth, and NASA has to use a Saros cycle. They can't even predict the eclipse. So, you know, this is one of the things. Flat Earthers don't make claims we can't verify. That's why we're Flat Earthers, right? Like, people are like, what's on the other side? It's like, well, we can only dig 7.8 miles down. That's the deepest hole ever dug. So we're not going to make a claim past that. That's all that can be verified. The Globe Earth makes all kinds of fairy tales of how everything came into existence, and this is a billion light years away. Just trust me. And here's a black hole that we made on a computer.
But why do you think they would lie to you?
Why would they lie? Yeah, that's one of the number one questions that we get. I don't know if you were here, but why? When does the government not lie? You know, but every major government lies all the time. We give them $60 million a day in NASA in America. Also, if they say it's the Antarctic Treaty, you're not allowed to go there. Okay, so if you're not allowed to go there and there's more land and resources, they're lying to hide other pieces of land and resources, which is the most valuable thing that exists. They also tell you that everything came from nothing, and you're a tiny speck of dust, and the Earth's really insignificant in the grand scheme of things, and you came from monkeys and all this other nonsense. But if the Earth is the center of everything, which it provably is, then that means it had to be created. So they're hiding a creator, hiding lands.
The Earth is the middle of everything.
Yeah, it is, provably. No. Everything that's in the sky moves over top of us in perfect concentric circles. You can do time lapse. Again, the Globe Earth and Flat Earth both agree on this, okay? Yeah, the Globe Earth and Flat Earth both agree that in our sky, the sky resets.
Turn around the sun.
Right, but check what I'm saying. The Globe Earth and Flat Earth both agree that when you look up at the sky, it does perfect circles around Polaris and North Pole Star. Now the Globe Earth says it just looks like that, okay? And that we're actually revolving around the sun, that the sun's shooting 500,000 miles per hour through space, that our galaxy is shooting 1.3 million miles per hour, while we spin wobbling 1,000 miles per hour. All right, but they say that everything's so far away that you can't see the difference. It would take billions of years, right? So the stars do the same thing for thousands of years, all recorded history. Any record we have for thousands of years, they do the same thing, they reset. According to the Globe Earth, they should change because you're spinning and revolving. So they say it would change, but it would take billions of years, and everything's just thousands of light years away. But what Flat Earth says is what you see is what it is, and this sky resets around like a clock around Polaris for all recorded history, which is what the evidence is. What are the other planets? Do they not exist? Planet means wanderer. Okay, so the reason they were called planets is they're wandering lights. They move a little different than the other lights, the other stars, but they all still move east to west and reset. I document them all the time. You can zoom in. They're like pulsating orbs of light. Like if I have a flashlight and I shine it at you, it's a circle, right? It looks like a circle, but it's not a sphere. There's no evidence that it's solid or a sphere, none of that. Like, they're just pulsating lights in the sky, just like the stars, and they all move around in a concentric circle. So the planets are just wandering lights. And you can document them and prove it. The only way that you'll see anything different is an artist rendition cartoon of NASA saying that, well, we made it on a computer, we think it looks like this.
I don't have, like, for example, the picture of the sun and moon, like, where are the other planets? Like, where are the moons? Like, because I can see the other planets.
There's no other planets, okay? So the Earth's not flat around planets in a solar system. The Earth is the bottom of everything, and all the stuff in the sky moves over top of it, which is what we observe for all recorded history. The planets are just like the other stars. They just wander in a little bit of a different motion. That's why they're called planets, but they all keep moving east to west. They're not static, which means not sitting still. You can record them with a telescope or a P1000. They move like orbs of light in a fluid, basically. They're not solid. They're not somewhere you can land. They're not. The Earth's not in a solar system. The Earth is the bottom floor, effectively, in layman's terms, and the sky moves over top of it. The planets are just lights that wander.
Anita, we gotta go.
Yeah.
The Earth is flat.
Yeah. Why would the sun set? I gotta repeat the question just for the. Why would the sun set if the Earth was flat? Wouldn't the sun shining all over the entire Earth? No, it's called attenuation of light, right? So light gets absorbed into the medium. It's called attenuation. Light doesn't shine forever. If I had a flashlight and I shined it over the ground right here, you couldn't see it from over there, you know, but if I moved it closer to you, you'd eventually see it. So the sun is more local. It's the same size as the moon. They're both more local. They're small. They're not 93 million miles away. It's not huge, right? It's right above the Earth, and it moves away from you. Eventually it gets so far you can't see it anymore, and it becomes nighttime. Then it comes back with its radius of light back around to where you can see it, and you have daylight. Yeah, very simple. Why can't you see that? Because you have angular resolution limit. You can't see forever, right? So like if you look at the end of a long railroad, it'll look like they're going together, right? But they're not. It just looks like that. And if you stand at the end of a long hallway, it'll look like the ceiling and the floor converge. They're not. It just, you can't see forever. You have a vanishing point, like if you know any artists, they draw vanishing points, right? It's just how the eyes work. It's, yeah, no one says that they're like directly across from each other. They're just a movement. They're not like directly necessarily across from each other. And really, yeah, how do you see the moon during the day? Good question. Because it just sounds so stupid to say that it's spinning around the Earth while it spins around the sun, and you can see the sun and the moon at the same time. But and that the moon is, you know, we see the same face of the moon for all recorded history. We've only seen that face of the moon. We've never seen another side of it ever. They claim it's a sphere that spins, but we've only seen that same thing forever. They say it spins at the perfect speed that you don't see it change. What a cool story.
There's never been anybody who took an airplane all over, like, the
No. It'd be called north to south circumnavigation. No one's ever done it.
Not over the ocean, like not over it, or on top of the other way.
Yeah, people have done it like this.
Yeah.
It's east to west. That works the same on a globe or a flat Earth. The center is the North Pole where the compass faces. So as you go east, it's going to constantly update to north, right? That's how we travel. You go in a circle and come back. That's why it's called circumnavigation. So you come in a circle. What would prove the Earth's a ball is if you could go north to south and come back around the ball. No one's ever done it.
That would be you like steer your airplane like this the whole time, and they like straight.
No, what you do in a plane is you travel relative to north. You use a compass. That's how we travel, right? Like you have to have north. So if north's in the center, it's the same on a globe Earth. The center is where north is facing. So to go east, you're going to constantly look at where north is and then follow east relative to north. North is going to constantly update. The needle constantly moves to the center. So you come back around to where you started. It's the same on the globe Earth or flat Earth. East to west circumnavigation is the same. It would only be different on the north to south. Conveniently, what's illegal and no one's ever done in the history of mankind. Probably just a coincidence. So. You have good questions, though. These are good questions you should ask. You're going to have a lot more. I'm going to be real with you. Cool. In a world where no one knows what the world is. You got any questions, bro? You want to record?
We got cards for days, bro. You want a card? There's a QR code on here, and you can scan it. There's a couple, brother. Yes, sir. There's an app on there, and then my info's on there. The first YouTube you get to is censored right now. I'm on my backup, but they're both on there. So you can see yourself on there if you want to. Oh, you want a card? Oh, what's up, bro? Good. You too. What's your name? Okay. Okay, nice to meet you. Oh, yeah. NASA takes $60 million a day to say that they go to space, but they can't go to space. Yeah. NASA means to deceive in Hebrew. They claim they went to the moon in 1969. They just can't go back. What a cool story. That's why they basically like give the NASA memorabilia away. They want everyone to wear it, but just so you know, they're taking $60 million a day from taxpayers to lie to people, including children. So, you know, I'm standing up for the children. You can trust your senses, children. The reason that you don't feel like you're spinning is because you're not. The earth is very special. You didn't come from monkeys. The Creator loves you. He made you special. He made you beautiful and individual in His image. You have a spirit, okay? And you're loved. The earth is very special. It's the center of everything, which means it had to be created. So you don't have to listen to people tell you that you're not important or that you're on a tiny speck of dust or that you came from monkeys. That isn't true. You can trust your senses. When you see that the water is always flat, it's because water always finds its level. It's because it's actually flat. And when you don't feel like you're moving, it's because you're not moving. You don't have to blindly believe whatever cartoons teachers show you in government textbooks. No, the earth doesn't move. The earth is flat. It's flat, it doesn't move, it's geocentric, so the center of everything. And then there's something containing the gas pressure. That's the only way we could be breathing. There's a container. And then the sky moves. Well, the stars in the sky move. The moon. Over top of it. No. The sun and the moon move over top of us. The sky moves over top of us. So we see the stars move, right? But the globe Earth claims that they're actually sitting still. And the Earth's spinning and it just looks like that. Well, Flat Earth says it's still and the sky's actually moving like we see. Right? Yeah, we don't feel it. There's no experiment that's ever proved the Earth is spinning. How would a crane work if the Earth is spinning? How do planes not have to account for the Earth spinning? Do I? No one's ever done a scientific experiment to prove the Earth is spinning, no. They say that something called Foucault's pendulum in 1851 detected the Earth movement, but it didn't, right? And it's the same as like a crane. A crane wouldn't work. But there's an app on there, bro. If you have any questions, there's a question mark there. Download the app, bro. For real. Any question you can think of is answered on the first app that pops up. Yeah, much love, bro. All right, I'm taking a break. If anybody has any questions, you come up here and ask any of these guys. These guys all know the answers. They also all give you information. You can also, if you're embarrassed to come up here, you can pull your phone out and you can go to the App Store and type in Flat Earth, and there will be something called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Clock app, and you can download it. It'll answer all your questions. Don't say I never do nothing for you, Dave.
It's Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac.
Yeah, but if you type in Flat Earth, it's there. I'm not sure if they were in the seat of the camera or not.
Zodiac.
I know, that's not on sale. What up, guys? Yeah, we should just do whatever we want to do. That's what I'm talking about. Bro, like, we should come back at night, maybe.
Yeah, it's busy right now.
Killing it, bro. Great job. Thank you, man. What up, Bob? Bob's a legend. You're on fire, I think. Hopefully that it caught the interactions on camera. I wasn't crushing. Thank you, man. Good spoon feeding? Yeah, thanks. I'm trying. Let me grab a drink. Yeah, let's charge us again. You don't mind that? Yeah, we'll charge them both at the same time. So as long as this is turned on. All right, I'm gonna play a flat earth song. Sorry, I was catching up with some of the flat earthers that came. What's up, everybody? So I'm gonna take one of those music breaks, and I really like the song. I like the RMX remix, so I'm gonna play that one. Yeah, I told you it's not over yet. No, it's not over. I'm just kind of taking a break, and I'm chatting with these guys for a second. I'm gonna play the flat earth song, and then we'll see where we go. We might come back on. I guess I'll just come back on and do a little bit more. We had a lot of people that were interested that time. Oh, why are you talking to them? No one's listening to you. Wrong.
What?
Sorry.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth error. Bluetooth connected.
Yeah.
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up.
Used to play pretend,
Wake
we
up,
would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away.
wake up,
Used to play pretend,
wake up.
used to dream about a space, but now they're laughing at the face saying
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to
we
wake.
would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away. Saying
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake.
we used to play pretend,
Wake up,
used to dream about a space, but now they're laughing at the face saying
wake up, you need to wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up.
Land of the thieves, home of the slaves. 19 billion, that's 50 million a day. That's what NASA gets, just the light of the human race. Pretending to go to space, but they fake it right to our face. And they say they moonwalk, but that just wasn't the case. Trying to tell us there's a rover on Mars, but it's a fake. Nope. CGI satellites, but I don't see a trace. People everywhere waking up, we're shaking up the place. So if you let me, I can shake up the thoughts that you tend to think of. cause I fell in love with truth and I don't ever wanna break up. Let's take a look what's underneath the Hollywood makeup. So much that gets put in our face is straight made up. This place they call a planet that they lied about the shape of. They can play pretend, but me, I'm calling for Freemasons and Zionists, the ones that put the eye on it. Try to say they scientists, but I can't say I'm buying it. Do you know what science is and how that they decided it? They just keep rewriting it to keep us from enlightenment, knowing that they lying it. Stay promoting violence, knowing that we're gullible products of our environment. No, I can't be silent, and nor will I be compliant. Not reliant on the tyrants to fall if we're not defiant. I can't seem to find the curvature. Total social overture. The sun is small and local to the earth as it encircles her. Nothing like the lies of elite sun worshippers, but up against the Bible, I don't even need interpreters. Earth is flat and motionless. Open up a scope and see a boat across the ocean mist. Chemtrails clogging up what used to be an openness. In Florida, come in concentrated doses. I'm conscious of the brokenness. People all over the place deceived. I hate to see. Space is not a place you see, it's fake, it's only make-believe. Constellations prove that the earth doesn't move, but the liars on wires wanna take away the truth. I'm screaming.
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up, you need to need to wake up.
Used to play pretend, used to play pretend.
Wake up.
We would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away.
Wake up.
We used to play pretend, used to play pretend.
Wake up.
Used to dream of outer space, but now they're laughing at the face saying,
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up, you need to need to wake up.
Wherefore he saith, the way thou sleepest, and arise from the dead, Christ shall give thee light. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise.
Have you ever wondered why, when you looked up in the sky, exactly how the sun and moon ended up the same size? It's 90 million miles and 250,000. Y'all can beat my poker face, cause that defies some odds. Yeah, I'll tell you this is gambling, with every dose of Ambien. You're managing to transfer in, so let me be your wake-up call. Let me be your wake-up call. You ever been to space at all? Who's above us? One that loves us or aliens that hate us all? Man, I used to catch some Z's on this black plane. Then the alarm clock rang and all that changed. Like, motionless. Please tell me you see how flat this ocean is. The devil lied to us, lied to you, lied to me. Tried to hide my creator, made me play some hide and seek. But he speaks that if I seek him, that he won't hide from me. If I knock, that he will open it and show me what I need. That greed is the enemy. For tongue of the serpent as he dangles from the trees, and trying to keep us all far, far away from obedience. Trying to take our will and our next of kins, had us living for the sun, not the S-O-N. So good morning, beautiful. Time to rise and shine. Time to breathe this morning air. Open those sleepy eyes. Yeah, good morning, wonder. Time to shake them dreams. Feel a Savior's love for you. This world ain't what you think, man. Good morning, beautiful. Time to rise and shine. Time to breathe this morning air. Open those sleepy eyes. Yeah, good morning, wonder. Time to shake them dreams. Feel the Savior's love for you. This world ain't what you think. This world ain't what you think. It's time to
wake up. You need to wake up. You need to wake up. You need to need to wake up.
Used to play pretend, used to play pretend.
Wake up.
We would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away.
Wake up.
We used to play pretend, used to play pretend.
Wake up.
Used to dream of outer space, but now they're laughing at the face saying,
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to
we would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away. Saying,
wake up, you need to wake up, you need to
We used to play pretend, used to play pretend.
Wake up.
Used to dream of outer space, but now they're laughing at the face saying,
wake up, you need to wake up,
yeah.
Wake up.
Wake up, man.
Reality is insane. They want to keep us in chains. Plus they have a web of deception they weave in our brains. But now I see through the games. They're trying to lead us astray. Gatekeeping information, they want to keep it that way. But I'm researching all the time, every day of the week. So people claim that I'm crazy and I'm labeled a freak. But that's what happens when you're awake in a nation of sheep. where they try their best to keep the population asleep. They poison our food and water and they offer us war, but we're not falling for their parlor tricks, not anymore. We walk through the door and let our chains drop to the floor. There's many areas in this life that we got to explore, and the earth too, because they might be hiding more lands, more seas, more trees.
Anyways, I'm sorry. They mess with the stream because 75% of the people watching dip out when it freezes. Yeah, of course. How many watching? 33. Yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna go explain what that song was talking about. We just played Geocentric, ODD, and Amber Plaster. Back now. Yeah, 33. Illuminati confirms. Went from over 100 to 33. Yeah, that's why they do it. That's why they do it. Live just now on my home TV. Cool. Break it down, Austin. I'm going to. In a world where no one knows what the world is. So, yeah, they're attacking my stream. They always attack my stream on YouTube. They make it go in and out. So we had like a good amount of viewers, but it dropped. Whatever, it always happens. You know, you just gotta vehemently attack things that are stupid. You know, that's why YouTube forcibly censors me and I'm on my backup channel. Anyway, if you guys heard that song, the hook was saying geocentric. The realm that we wander in, it's geocentric. Geocentric means the center of everything. They say that we are in a heliocentric model, meaning the sun is the center of the solar system and that the earth revolves around it. The truth is that the sun and the moon, they move over top of the earth. The stars move over top of the earth. And they all go around Polaris, the North Pole star, directly over the North Pole, which is the center of the surface of the Earth. They've been like that forever, for thousands of years. The Egyptians recorded it, ancient civilizations recorded it everywhere. For thousands of years, it hasn't changed. The Earth is geocentric. It doesn't move, and it's flat. And so geocentric means the center of everything that exists. And of course, if the Earth is geocentric, someone had to put it there, right? It's the center of everything. How did it get here? Why would they lie? Well, there you go. I just answered the question. You think you're on a tiny speck of dust that randomly came from nothing and revolves around the sun. And actually, the people that propose this lie, they're Luciferians. They're sun worshippers. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but they're crazy. Okay, if you ever read Freemasonic literature, Albert Pike, Manly P. Hall, which they actually say Manly P. Hall wasn't a Freemason. He just studied Freemasonry anyway. I digress. Albert Pike tells you that they're Luciferians and that they worship the sun. They literally are sun worshippers. That's why they said it's a heliocentric model. Helios is the sun god. The Statue of Liberty in New York is a Helios statue. Literally. So if you Google a Helios statue, you will see it's identical to the Statue of Liberty. They are worshiping the sun, and they told you that you go around the sun and everything's about the sun, and this is a heliocentric model. Right? If you actually say heliocentric, it says Helios. So anyway, the people that propose this, the Luciferian sun worshippers, they worship Apollo, Helios, right? The sun god. And you may think that's crazy. You may say that's a conspiracy theory or that's insane. But they're the most powerful, successful, rich people in the world. They control more land than anyone else in the world. What's up? Good. How are you? So, I mean, you can think they're crazy, but the funny thing is, they think you're crazy, that you're running around scared of the air, wearing whatever they tell you to, going in lockdown curfews, and that you think that you're revolving around the sun. You think that this waterfall is actually tilted backwards, going upside down. They think that you're crazy, right? And it's kind of the whole trick. So anyway, these people that cast a lie, they're very powerful groups of people. Everyone asks, who is they? Just powerful groups of people, powerful families. They're typically incestuous. They keep it in their family, right? Because they don't want the power to extend beyond that. They're eugenicists, which is why they're very pro-abortion. That's why they aim it at the minorities, because they're psychopaths. But I digress. They want to make sure that no one else can reproduce. They want to make sure that they keep their reproduction within, and they're very powerful families. Every U.S. president is related. This includes Obama. They're all related, and they all track back to English royalty.
Yay, let's go vote for someone in their family reunion. So it's very powerful groups of people, the Jesuits, the Zionists, the Masons. They're all in the same club, and that is Luciferianism. They own more land than anyone else. The Queen of England owns like 1/6 of the Earth's land, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, they're the most powerful people in the world. They know what the Earth is. You can't be a 33rd degree Freemason unless you know the Earth is flat. You literally aren't allowed. So have you ever seen the Freemasonic symbol? It has a G in it. The G stands for geometria, which is measurement of the Earth. And that's why it has a square and a compass. That's how you measure a flat Earth. So it's been right out in front of you the whole time. So like I said, they're Luciferians. If you've ever heard of Lucifer, I'm sure many of you have, then maybe you've heard of the number 666. Since we have a new group out here, I'll break this down. Everyone calls me a conspiracy theorist. They say that we're crazy conspiracy theorists. But from our perspective, you're coincidence theorists. Because every time we tell you some factual information you can verify that doesn't work or sounds crazy, you have to say, oh, it's just a coincidence. So let's see how many times the number 666 pops up in this fake globe Earth model coincidentally. The diameter of the moon, which is supposedly 250,000 miles away, is 2,160. That's 6 times 6 times 60. The circumference of the Earth in nautical miles is 21,600. That's 6 times 6 times 600. The supposed curvature rate of the Earth is 0.666 feet per mile squared to 1,000 miles using Pythagorean theorem based on the radius value. We're supposedly going around the sun 66,600 miles per hour. Yeah, we're going around the sun that they worship 66,600 miles per hour while we're tilted on a 66.6 degree tilt. And it's all using gravity, which the number for gravity is 6.66. They rounded up to 6.67. And this was discovered supposedly by Isaac Newton when an apple fell on his head in 1666. There's something called the Selenian eclipse, the impossible eclipse that debunks the globe Earth. It was first recorded supposedly in 1666. The North and South Arctic circles are at 66.6 degrees, which is an oxymoron. So number all over it. They told you who told you what the Earth was and how they lied, and they just sat back and anyone figures it out. In fact, most Masons don't even figure it out. That's why they don't make it to the 33rd degree. They just give you access to the library. You have to go study and figure it out. If you pass the test, then you're voted on to get to the 33rd degree. And that's when Freemasonry really starts. So anyway, they put their number all over it, 666. And they worship the sun. That's why they said you go around the sun. They worship Helios, the sun god. That's why the Statue of Liberty is a Helios statue. So we cover some of the basics. They're very powerful groups of people. Every U.S. president tracks back to English royalty. Our last president, Donald Trump, a lot of people seem to like him. This is where I trigger people, but of course Joe Biden's a psycho. He can't speak coherent sentences. And Donald Trump's also a psycho. When I tell people, yeah, I don't support Joe Biden, they're like, you must be a Trumper, or vice versa. No, they're all related. They're all tying back to English royalty. Donald Trump has the Trump Tower on the 66th floor. He has Apollo all over it, which is the sun god. They're all in the same cult. So you can look all this up for yourself and verify it. Trump literally has Apollo worship all over his 66th floor. He was bailed out by the Rothschilds Incorporated for $4.8 billion, one of the most corrupt families in the history of mankind. So instead of dividing over, are you Democrat or Republican or right or left or Biden or Trump or anything like that, we should all come together and realize that it's us as people that need to stand up to be free, and it's against the totalitarian governments that are trying to take over. Now, you automatically want to say crazy, but I don't know if you were present for the last 15 months, but the whole world shut down the same day. The whole world shut down the same day, and then we were given curfews, and we were put in lockdown like they have in prisons. I don't think that free country term is lockdown. That's a prison term. Now, whenever they come out in the fall and they say, oh, the air's going to kill you again, you need to go into lockdown, all you guys will immediately know what to do. You'll just walk like slaves into lockdown. So they're also conditioning you for the mark of the beast. Once again, if you've heard the number 666 before, there's a prophecy from thousands of years ago. It says that they will try to make a new world order, that they will make you identify yourself to buy, sell, or trade. It'll be on your wrist and your forehead. Well, for the last year, they shut the whole world down on the same day. They put the whole world in lockdown with the same rules. They then made you identify yourself with a mask, one letter away from marked, so you could go into stores to buy, sell, trade. And then they started scanning your wrist and your forehead as you walked in. You guys don't realize you're being conditioned for a mark that will be rolled out. It'll be digital. It'll identify you. You walk into a store like a robot and let them scan your forehead. You don't really realize why, but it's because now you're used to that. So in the future, it will be nothing new to walk into the store and get scanned on your forehead. That's why they did that. Now, once again, these are all probably just coincidences. This prophecy being fulfilled from thousands of years is probably a coincidence. The whole world shutting down the same day is probably a coincidence. Russia and China and the United States all disagree on everything, but they agree that everyone should go into lockdown on the same day, right? This is why the lie is so important about the fact the earth is provably flat, it's provably not spinning, and it's provably the center of everything. The reason it's so important is that means all of these major countries are lying together. It is not Russia versus China versus the US, it is governments versus you. That's what it is. So why did all of these geopolitical enemies sign the Antarctic Peace Treaty and all agree to it? Why they all sign it? The longest lasting peace treaty ever. So there's something called Operation High Jump. It's declassified. The U.S. military went and explored the Antarctic region. They found out what was there. They then signed the Antarctic Treaty. Within 1 year of signing the Antarctic Treaty, which says that you're not allowed to go there. It's very verifiable. You can look it up yourself. It's illegal to privately explore past the 60th south latitude into the Antarctic region, and every major world country has agreed on it. Within 1 year of signing that treaty, they founded NASA. We know everything about the Earth. There's nothing to look at. We know where everything is. Now look at space and the cartoons. We're going to tell you fairy tales about how we're about to go to the moon. This was all founded within a small period of time. They also did something called Operation Fishbowl around the same time, which is where they shot missiles up into the air to try to break through the firmament. This is what the military documents say. And then when they shot the missiles up, they always exploded around the same altitude, around 62 miles. So they couldn't get through it. They couldn't get through the firmament. If you've ever read the scriptures, which of course I do think the scriptures are true, and I think religion sucks, but anyway, I digress. It tells you that there's a firmament. Okay, that word in Hebrew is rakia. It means it's strong as bronze, it's beaten out as strong as bronze, it's impenetrable, and it's stretched out like a tent over top of the earth. Now the government said that they were trying to break through a firmament. How insane is that? They also said that a Russian scientist, he formulated an approximation method to determine the brightness of the firmament, and that this method was proven to be accurate. This is all declassified documents. There are hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of documents declassified by the U.S. military that says the Earth is flat and says that there's a firmament. It says that whenever they shoot missiles, they assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. Whenever they develop plane technology, they assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. Whenever they create electromagnetic propagation for weapon systems of towers, they assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. There are hundreds and hundreds of documents from the military themselves that say the Earth is flat. There's something else that happened around the same time period called Operation Paperclip. That is where we brought Nazis over here. You know who Nazis? You know Nazis, the guys that supposedly mass murder millions of people, right? We brought Nazis over here to work with us. So like I told you, the scriptures say something about the firmament. The declassified documents of the government talk about how they try to go through the firmament in Operation Fishbowl, but they couldn't. They said that they had a brightness determination method that was proven accurate of the firmament. Well, Werner von Braun is one of these Nazis we brought over. He was an SS officer of the Nazi regime. Not some innocent scientist, he was an SS officer. He was put in charge of space exploration, and he's the one that was responsible for taking us to the moon, a literal Nazi. When he died, on his tombstone, it has Psalms 19:1. That's all that's on it. Psalms 19:1 says the firmament shows the handiwork of the Creator. So the guy who supposedly took us to the moon, when he died on his tombstone, let the truth out and said that there's a firmament, which would prevent you from going to space like he claimed that he took us to. Of course, we haven't gone back to the moon since. According to NASA, this is because we destroy the technology, and it's a painful process to build it back, and it's too dangerous to do so. So I guess we won't get back to the moon until we get some more Nazis. We're just fresh out of Nazis. They're the only ones that could take us. Something else this Nazi did, Werner von Braun, right, the SS officer, he wrote a science fiction book in the 50s. In the 1950s, the main character's title is Elon. And guess what Elon does in this book? He supposedly takes humans for the first civilization on Mars. Does that sound familiar? We have someone nowadays named Elon Musk that's supposedly about to take us to Mars. If you guys think that's a coincidence, once again, you're a coincidence theorist. I guess whenever Werner von Braun, the SS officer of the Nazi regime, wasn't busy mass murdering millions of people on his spare time, he was a prophet. Okay, so this is kind of just it's a troll. It's like they're trolling you. They want to see if you'll figure it out. They don't think you will, and they're right. And so now people come up to me because people stop trusting NASA. A lot of people don't believe in the moon landing, but they still think there's a ball. They think that they lied about it to beat the Soviet Union or whatever else they can come up with, right? And so they say, NASA's lying. The government found out people don't trust them, so what they now do is they use SpaceX. People come up to me and are like, it's not just the government lying, private companies go to space. What about SpaceX? Well, SpaceX gets hundreds of millions of dollars in grants from the government every year, and Elon Musk is on record saying we would have never gotten to space without NASA. So it is an extension of NASA. They are governmentally funded, and it's just another extension of the lie because they realized people weren't paying attention, or people weren't listening to them anymore and didn't believe it. This is the same people that told you they shot a convertible into space. I don't know if you guys have kept up with the pseudoscience enough to know that, but SpaceX claims they shot a convertible Tesla into space, as is off the parking lot. In fact, the one that Tesla himself, or not Tesla, but Elon used to drive. Okay, of course, this is impossible. How can you have tires in space? How can you have tires with air pressure in them in space? Take all the time you need. You can't. How could you have paint in space next to where sun's unimpeded in a vacuum? You couldn't. Now, they said that they took this right off the lot and they put it out there as is, but they did make one change, and they took the rear view mirror off. If you're familiar with how studios work, there's something called the fourth wall. When you make a movie, you can only show the audience 3 walls. You cannot show them the fourth wall. It would show the camera and the studio and everyone that's in there and the crew. It's called the fourth wall. You can only show 3 walls. Well, of course, they took the rear view mirror off, so you couldn't see what would be the fourth wall. So there are literal people that will walk by me, act like I'm crazy, and they think they shot a convertible into space, and it's just up there floating around. And actually, they got so much kickback because it looked so fake that in an interview, someone asked Elon about it, and his direct quote was, well, you know it's real because it looks so fake. What a clown world. What a clown world. You can't even make it up. I don't have to come make stuff up to you guys. I just have to tell you what they said. It's that ridiculous. Okay, so no, we shouldn't trust Elon, prophesized from the 50s, that gets hundreds of millions of dollars from the government, that said he puts convertibles into space, that wants to put a chip in your brain. We probably shouldn't revere this guy like he's some type of genius. Nikola Tesla's statue's over there. His intellect towers this clown show named Elon Musk, who can't even stutter his way through a sentence, and people act like he's a genius. He's clearly not a genius. This guy literally was a genius, though. He gave us the very electrical grid we still use to this day. He invented the AC generator. We all still use that. Actually, Charles Produce Steinmetz, also not in the history books, perfected it. But nevertheless, this guy could literally read a book beginning to end and then tell you everything that it said. He was a literal genius. But they took his name, and then they put this character up there that was propped up on the world stage, a part of the elite families, right? He says supposedly he's the co-founder of PayPal. Wrong. That's a lie. Everything about the guy is a lie. Everything is fraudulent. Okay, so if you are talking about Elon Musk, this and that, and how they went to space and SpaceX, you need to back up a little bit. This guy's a psychopath. No, private companies don't go to space. Now they're saying Jeff Bezos is about to go to the moon. See, they always come out with a story about how we're about to go to the moon. One of the main questions I get, the reason I'm addressing this, is people come up there and they're like, okay, are you going to think the Earth is a ball whenever they send people into space? Would you go to space and then see the Earth's a ball? Would you believe it then? They're not going to send people to space, man. They've been saying there would be private exploration of space available to the public since as early as the early 90s, and no one's ever done it. It'll never happen. They've also been saying they're going to go back to the moon since 1972, like every 4 years, and they push it back every 4 years. They push it back. They just now pushed it back again. So why do they have to keep extending it back? It's because they cannot do it. They're a little nervous about trying to fake the moon landing again. It's a lot harder now. We have 4K in our pockets. We don't have black and white television sets. We'll be able to tell if it's fake. That's why they haven't faked the moon landing again. A lot of people say they don't go back to the moon because, well, they've already been there. Why would you go back? Well, that's not what they say. They say they do want to go back because it's very obvious we didn't do much there, even under their own admission. We did nothing. We played golf. Okay, so we need to go back. But they say, well, it's too dangerous to go back. We destroy the technology. Don Pettit, verbatim. I'd go back to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we destroyed that technology. It's a painful process to build it back. So if you're being honest right now, you should realize this isn't really adding up. So are there any pictures of this globe Earth I'm so crazy for not believing in? Because the only supposed real picture of this globe Earth is from the moon missions. Well, we just discussed how it has to do with Nazis and they can't go back and it's clearly stupid, and they called the American president on a landline from 238,000 miles away with no delay in the 60s, but they can't go back. They went back and forth like 6 times with no problem, but now they can't get past the Van Allen radiation belt. It's too dangerous. Okay? Of course, you can just examine the footage and you will see that they fall down and get jerked up off of harnesses and defy physics and all kinds of nonsense. So if we can't go back to the moon, and that's the supposed one real picture of the Earth, and they faked the moon landing. Where's the real picture of the globe Earth that I'm so crazy for not believing in? Has anyone seen a real picture of the globe Earth? A lot of you guys think you have. You'll go Google it. You'll show me a cartoon. Yeah, much love, bro. Hey, you want a card, bro? You want a card? Take a card. Is there a QR code on it? So you think you've seen a real picture of Earth from space. That's another one of the main things I get. People walk up to me and they're like, oh, and they show me a picture of a globe, right? Well, one of the most infamous ones, I'll give you an example. It's called the blue marble. So if you want to pull your dumb phone out and get off the gram for a second, it's not going anywhere. Trust me, the CIA loves it. It's the best brainwashing tool in modern history. So you can put the gram up for just a second. You don't have to go live by the water that's falling, not tilted backwards, going upside down. And you can Google Robert Simmons, NASA.gov, blue marble. If you type this into Google, it'll take you straight to NASA's website, the first response. And it's about the blue marble picture, the default picture, the default wallpaper on the first generation of iPhones. The most seen picture ever all around the world. Everyone thinks that's what the Earth looks like. It's called the blue marble, right? This beautiful picture of the Earth from space. If you go to their website, what I just told you to type in, it'll tell you that actually that's not a real picture, and that it takes high altitude pictures, it stitches it on a flat map surface, they then wrap it around a sphere, they bring an artist in to do an artist rendition to match what the observer expects it to look like. Robert Simmons' direct quote, of course it's photoshopped because it has to be. So you guys think you have pictures of Earth from space, but NASA, the one you get them from, say that you do not have them, and they are in fact photoshopped cartoons, computer generated images. So if we went to the moon in 1969 and took a picture in 72, why can't we get a real picture of the Earth from space in 2021 when I have a 4K camera sitting right there live streaming? Does anyone want to answer that question? How does my iPhone 12 Pro have better processing capability than a warehouse of computers did in 69, but we can't go back to the moon? We destroyed the technology. This is the biggest part of the lie. Most people that I come across that still think the Earth's a globe, they still think that we went to the moon. A small portion of them think the moon landing was fake, but that the Earth is still a ball. And that we just faked it because of Russia. We had to beat Russia, right? Okay, well, then where's the proof that the Earth's a ball then? Does anyone know? Someone's offering 2 Bitcoins. I think it's dropped a little bit, so it's like 30 some grand a Bitcoin. You can win like 70 grand if you can give one solid proof of the globe Earth. 2 Bitcoins. It's my homie, trust me, I'll make sure you get the money, but it won't happen. Actually, it's been taken to courts to try to win a $10,000 offer prize from a flat earther because they thought they could prove the Earth was a ball, and the courts ruled in favor of flat Earth, saying the globe Earth did not have empirical evidence to prove the Earth's a globe. This was a literal court case that happened in the United States, but I guess CNN forgot to cover it. I got you. That should have been all over the news, but that would be a free country, you know? And I would tell you some more stuff CNN forgot to tell you, but I'd get kicked off YouTube. Maybe I'll do it when I cut it off. So anyway, the Earth's not a spinning ball. Where's the evidence of it? There's actually another reward. There's a $1 million reward from a flat earther for anyone that can demonstrate and replicate water spinning, adhering to the outside of a ball. If you can just show water bending around, sticking to the outside of a ball while it spins, you get $1 million. So anyone want to take the money? It's been available for 2 years. So not only are flat earthers the only one that know anything about it, not only are they the ones that actually tested it and researched it, they put their money where their mouth is. Literal millions of dollars and Bitcoins and tens of thousands of dollars. I've been out here all day offering $100 to $200 to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. I'm not even asking you to prove the stupid pseudoscientific model. I'm just asking you to show you know something about it. No one ever wins the money. See, we happen to know for a fact the Earth is not a spinning ball because you can prove it. You can go and measure the Earth. It doesn't curve anywhere. We have an observation where there were mountains 200 miles away. Everyone listen. We saw mountains in France from 200 miles away. Based on the curvature of the ball Earth, you would have not seen the mountains. They would have been blocked by 1 mile of Earth curvature. Have you guys ever walked a mile? You know how long that is? That should be up and down blocking you physically. And we saw the entire mountains top to bottom. We saw the Chicago skyline from 60 miles away. It should have been completely blocked. We have an observation 1 foot off the surface in Cali where we see the horizon over 10 miles away. Based on the globe Earth math, it should have been 1.225 miles away or less than that. And yet we saw it 10 miles away. So they say the radius is just under 4,000 miles. In order for us to have that observation in Cali and the Earth be a ball, the radius would have to be 264,000 miles, over 250,000 miles. It's not even close. It's not even close. We falsified the radius. This is why the government censors flat Earth. Because it's not a debate. It's something that you can go test. You can go prove it, or you can go falsify it. You can go show that the flat earthers are so stupid. You can just go measure the curvature of the Earth, but it's never been done. It'll never be done. We falsified the radius. So there is no let's debate them. There is no get Neil deGrasse Tyson to get Austin on stage and scold the stupid flat earther, because he would get dominated. Just like Eric Dubé would have dominated him when they agreed on the flat earth debate on Joe Rogan's podcast, the #1 podcast in the world, but then Neil deGrasse Tyson was pulled back and told to back out. I debate Eric. Are you triggered? The Earth's not a ball? Do you think that waterfall's going upside down? That's what the globe Earth says. I'm sorry we can go to the moon, man. Okay. Hey, do you know what the First Amendment is? Hey, do you boomers know what live streams are? You're on the internet for the world to see. Okay. Feel free to keep it pushing. This is a public state park that we paid for. Why are all these people listening then? Then why are they coming up and getting my card? Why are they coming up and getting my card then? Okay, I'll give you $200 if you can answer 3 questions about the globe Earth, since I'm so stupid. It's always boomers. I'm sorry we didn't go to the moon, man. And I don't hate all boomers. But we didn't go to the moon. I'm sorry, bro. What have you done, millennial? The Earth's not a spinning ball in a cartoon spinning ball in a vacuum. That defies physics. Since I'm so stupid, let's explain to this guy how stupid his model is. And I try to be nice to everyone. When people come up, start screaming and cussing in my face, you get this work. I'm sorry about it. So anyway, you think you live on a spinning ball in a vacuum, but we have 14.7 psi at the surface level. This is called gas pressure. The only way that you have pressure, it's in the word pressure, it presses on the walls of a container, so it bounces off the walls and off each other and builds up pressure. That's how you have fresh sodas. It's sealed very tightly and it has higher pressure than the air around it. That's how your soda's fresh. This is called the second law of thermodynamics, that high pressure will go to low pressure. This is a natural scientific law. It cannot be debated. It's proven. It's factual. It's not a theory. It just happens all the time. We recorded it. I debate aerospace engineers and astrophysics professors, but I'm stupid. So anyway, they can't answer this part of the question. How do you have a pressurized system sitting next to a near perfect vacuum without a container? Because the second law dictates that it would immediately fill the vacuum. Immediately. So whenever you open your soda, it goes psh. It's because it instantaneously equalizes to the lower pressure around it because you remove the sill. When you make a cup of coffee and you set it down and it cools off, it's because the heat goes to cold. That's called the second law of thermodynamics. Okay? It's not debatable. It's just a fact. It happens always, forever, until the end of time. And so you cannot have this supposed outer space they claim of a near perfect vacuum. It's literally impossible. I ask aerospace engineers this question and they don't know the answer. The people here that can't define the second law know I'm wrong though. Think about how delusional that is. This is why I offer people $200 cash to come up here and answer the 3 basic questions, because you guys will make fun of me and ridicule me and scream in my face like this boomer couple did, but you guys don't know anything about the globe Earth. It's like telling me the Bible's real, but I've never read it. Well, I know all about the Bible. I read it. I know all about the globe Earth. I studied it. We tested it. Right? So that's why we do the game. We show that none of you guys know anything about it. I was about to wrap it up anyway. I almost want to go forever now. Anyway. So the Earth's not a spinning ball. I don't, believe it or not though, I don't actually do this for like zealous boomers. I do this for children predominantly. If you're an adult and you hear the info and you're open-minded and you want to come to the truth, that's good. But I find it to be quite disgusting that they lie to children, right? And actually what the scriptures say, if you are to lead one of these little ones astray, it's better you have a millstone tied around your neck and be thrown to the depths of the sea. See, telling your child that some creepy dude is going to jump through the fire and give them presents and can always see it, that's a lie. When you tell your children that everything they say at school is the truth, that's also a lie. And I get it, you think it's true, so you're not, intentionally lying. But children are being lied to. They're being told that everything came from nothing, that there's nothing special about them, that lightning struck primordial soup, rocks turned into fish, that grew feet turned into rodents, turned into apes, and then turned into humans. They're being told they came from apes through billions of years of evolution. They're just an animal, and nothing special about them. And they're a tiny speck of dust in this huge universe, and it's just random, chaotic happenstance. There's nothing special about the Earth. There's nothing special about them. They can't trust their senses. When it feels like the Earth's not moving, they have to believe it's spinning. What's up, bro? Yeah, if you get 3 questions right about the globe Earth. I don't want your money. What? I said I'd give you money. I'm sorry you're triggered. We didn't go to the moon, dude. You think we went to the moon? Dude, it's always boomers. What's up? Okay, how many times does the globe Earth spin every day? No, I'll let you try again though. It's less than that. No. No. One time. Yeah. Sorry, and I would want to give you all the bread out of everybody, but the next questions get a little bit harder. Thanks for playing though. You guys want a card? Here, take this card. There's a QR code on there, bro. I almost want to give them participation. That's right, man. The Earth's not spinning. Or, girl. The Earth is not a spinning ball in a vacuum. So anyway, just to clarify exactly what I'm saying here. They're lying to children, okay? And they're being told that they came from nothing and nothing's important about them, and this is why I do this. It's not okay to lie to children. If you want to believe fairy tales and you want to be a grown adult and still believe in cartoons, you know, go for it, bro. Go for it. It's like if a child walks up to me and they're like, Dora the Explorer's real. I'm like, no, it's a cool show. That's a cartoon. You know, if you're a grown adult and you vehemently want to believe in a cartoon that they admit are just cartoons from a known to be fraudulent source of information called the government. But when children are being lied to, it's a different story because children blindly believe authorities. They blindly believe their parents. They blindly believe their teachers. That's not fair. It's illegal. So if you're going to tell them that the Earth's a spinning ball in a vacuum, you should tell them both sides of the story. You should tell them that whenever they see the sunset, either the sun is moving away and setting, or in fact, it's sitting still and you're falling backwards 1,000 miles an hour and it looks like that. You should tell them that whenever they see the stuff move in the sky, it's actually sitting still, but they're spinning 1,000 miles an hour. You should tell them both sides of it. You should tell them this is how you would prove if the Earth is flat or if it's a globe. But they don't do that. They tell them that they proved it, which is patently false and it's a lie, and it's of course coming from the public schooling system controlled by the government, who always lies. It takes your tax money to lie, right? And so I'm just telling the children they can actually trust their senses. You don't have to blindly believe whatever someone older than you tells you. They're going to tell you stuff like everything came from nothing. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. How does everything come from nothing? That makes no sense, okay? How do we come from apes? Apes evolved into humans, but there's nothing in between. There's still apes here, there's still humans here, but there's nothing in between. They just all died. You're lying to them, telling them that they're insignificant. The truth is that the Creator's heart aches for these children because He made them in their image, and they are innocent when they're children, and they have a spirit, and they're very special, and they're beautiful, and they're very trustworthy, and they also trust you as if you are trustworthy, right? They basically project their innocence onto you, thinking no one would lie to them. Now, I'm not like saying you guys are intentionally lying to the children. The children are being lied to, though. It doesn't matter. The outcome is the same. So whenever they think, I don't feel like I'm moving, you have to tell them and brainwash them that they're spinning and they just can't feel it. When the teacher pulls out a globe and they're like, look, this is where you live, even though it says not for educational purposes, just for decorative purposes, it's completely disproportionate. It can be used to navigate. It has no relation to reality whatsoever. You show the child the ball and say, this is where you live. It's 5 years old. The child's 5 years old, like, wow, but wouldn't I fall off of it? Dude, the 5-year-old debunks the globe instinctively. You have to ingrain the lie into everyone and brainwash them their entire life for them to think the Earth's a ball. And now we have adults that after 40 years of being lied to, they think they know the Earth's a ball. But the child saw through it immediately, and you had to lie, and then you just said the word gravity. And they're like, what's that? And then the teacher says, well, it's just what keeps you to the ball. It pulls you down to the ball. And then she's like, okay, that seems legit. When's recess? They don't care. And that's pretty disgusting, to be honest, to lie to children and tell them that they're insignificant and that they could get hit by an asteroid at any point in time and that there's no creator that loves them or protects them, there's nothing special about them, and they don't have a spirit. That's why I do this, right? So whenever I have like boomers come and get triggered, I don't care. I don't do this for them, really. I do this for the children that they're lying to. They have a right to know the truth. So when you go ask that little kindergarten teacher, well, what exactly is gravity? Can you define it? They can't. When you ask them what the curvature rate is, they don't know. When you ask them how fast it spins, they don't know. When you ask them what parallax is, which was a supposed movement between the stars that would happen if we were spinning and revolving, they don't know. Whenever you ask what the theory of relativity is, they don't know. When you ask them how far away all these stars are, they don't know. But they're in a position to tell the children that they live on a tiny speck of dust where everything comes from nothing, but they don't know anything about it. Like, how has this system even gone on to flourish this long? We've been tricked into giving our children over to the state to raise them. The state lies about everything. This is the same government that used to condone slavery, the same government that has actually lied about numerous wars with false flags attacks. Why would we trust them with the well-being of our children? You know, I mean, of course they're lying. They always lie. So anyway, that's why I do it. I encourage everyone to open their mind and look into the truth. Don't brainwash the child. I wouldn't even encourage you saying to the child, we know the earth is flat, even though we do and you can test it. I encourage you to encourage your child to think for themselves. Tell them to ask questions, to be honest, to go try to find out what the truth is, to look at the evidence. That's what you should teach your child, not how to regurgitate what the truth is, supposedly, even if it's a lie. Just regurgitate it. That makes you smart. That's not what makes you smart. What makes you smart is looking at the evidence no matter what other people think. So anyway, I'm going to go through the basics real fast one more time, and then I'm going to get out of here. In a world.
Those people got triggered, bro.
Alright, so lesson number 1, class. I'm glad you guys all came. I know you didn't come to look at the waterfall, you came to learn about the earth. Okay, well here's the first lesson as applicable to where we are. If the earth's a spinning ball in a vacuum, that waterfall is actually tilted backwards going upside down. So everyone look at that waterfall and tell me if it's going upside down. Do you think it's going upside down? Is that going upside down spinning in a vacuum? Because if there is a ball, that has to be going upside down, just so you know. So anyway. It's actually called a waterfall because the water's falling, not rising up at the same time. That's dumb. Okay, so here's the first thing, since we're talking about water and how this waterfall has got water falling to find its level. Water always finds its level. Water being level is called fluid statics. So I have a bottle of water. If you have one, you can do it. It's level, still level, still level. I tip it more, it's still level. No matter what angle or direction I tip the water, it's always level. It's because water always finds its level. That's why we put fluid in levels to build things. That's why your surface of the floor in your house isn't curving. It's because they use a level to build it. Well, they put fluid in there because fluid always finds its level. That's why it's called sea level. How is 70% of a ball ocean water that's flat? How is 70% of a ball flat? That makes no sense. And that's why no one will ever win the $1 million to show how water could bend convexly around the exterior of a spinning spherical object in a vacuum, because it's stupid. Okay, so number one thing that clearly debunks the globe Earth is that 70% of the known terrain on the Earth, and I said known terrain to be very specific because they lied about a lot of the area, including everything past the Antarctic Treaty, is known to be large bodies of water at rest, and of course, they have waves, but they're at rest in general. They're flats. Large bodies of water do not curve. Okay, so how is 70% of this ball flat? It couldn't be. So the oceans debunk the globe Earth on their face. Okay, lesson number 2. There's something called the second law of thermodynamics. I covered it a second ago. I'm just going to cover all the basics again for one recap. The second law of thermodynamics says that entropy will increase, pressure will fill the available space, high pressure goes to low pressure, heat goes to cold. So a system, very simply, a system will spontaneously seek equilibrium. Okay? So whenever you have a soda and it's fresh, it's carbonated, it has a higher pressure system than the surrounding air, it's sealed very tight. That's how your soda's fresh. When you open the soda, it goes psh. It's instantly equalizing to the lower pressure outside of the can of soda or the bottle of soda. Okay? That's the second law of thermodynamics. That high pressure immediately migrated to the low pressure. That's why it goes psh and equalizes. And if you leave it open, it's not fresh anymore, right? That's called the second law of thermodynamics. And this always happens. This is a scientific natural law. Natural law means it always happens. Not something we came up with. So they say, some of you guys are breathing something called oxygen, some of you guys are still not. But anyway, there's 14.7 psi to surface level. You breathe oxygen. We have numerous gases on the Earth. Okay, this is called gas pressure. You cannot have gas pressure, a pressurized system like in the analogy the soda, sitting next to a vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr without something containing it. It would instantly fill the vacuum. Instantaneously. Instantly. They say it gradually seeps out into the vacuum. Well, that's not how it works. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. It would instantly fill the vacuum. So what they said space is, outer space being a vacuum, that's impossible. Of course they don't go there. It's literally impossible the way that they defined it. And the reason they said it was a near perfect vacuum is the only way they could even say the Earth could be a ball and that it's thousands of light years away from everything, and gravity and blah, blah, blah. But that gets a little technical. So anyway, the Earth's not a spinning ball in a vacuum because you can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. It violates the second law of thermodynamics. 70% of a ball Earth cannot be flat. That's called fluid statics. Water finds its level. So how is the entire Earth covered in water but is supposedly bending around a ball? These are antithetical claims, meaning opposite claims to literal natural law that always happens. You can't just make claims opposite to natural law and expect people to blindly believe it with no scientific evidence. Another thing that we'll cover real fast is the answer to both of those things. People just blindly say the word gravity. No one knows what it is. I don't want to get too technical, but people think it's mass attracting mass. It's the theory of relativity now. It's over 100 years ago they changed it, and it says that gravity is the effect of the bending and warping of space-time. Okay? Space is a concept, an idea of emptiness. Time is also a concept. It's how we count passing based on what happens in the sky. Okay, you can't bend concepts. You can't warp concepts. Can you bend freedom? Of course not. So actually the theory of relativity, modern days gravity, is inadmissible in space, but it gets worse than that. If you assume that it's real and you apply it to the supposed universe, Stanford, Yale, Harvard, all the top tier scientists, the best they can do is still be off by 95%. It's called dark matter and dark energy. Assuming the theory of relativity is real, it still doesn't even explain how the Earth could be a ball in a giant vacuum. In addition to that, there's no scientific empirical evidence for gravity ever. Literally none, okay? So a helium balloon doesn't go up because it's gravity proof. It goes up because helium is lighter than the air around it. This is called density, relative density. The reason that you're on the ground is you're heavier than the air, okay? When you jump up, you go back down. So the helium is lighter than air, it goes up. It's called relative density. That's it. If I take a beach ball and I throw it in the air, it comes back down because it's more dense than the air. If I take the beach ball to the bottom of a pool, it goes up because it's less dense than the water. You change the medium and the density within. Relative density determines direction, okay? There's nothing to do with gravity. There's no scientific evidence for gravity, literally. They admit it's just a theory that's never been proven. Like Harvard admits this. You guys come by and drop things and say, you don't believe in gravity? Harvard knows it's not even a real thing, okay? So the truth is that there is no such thing as gravity, and the only way that we say that we know that gravity is real is not because we've isolated it or proven it with an experiment. It's because we, quote unquote, know that the Earth's a ball. And if the Earth's a ball, gravity has to exist. It explains omnidirectionality, which just means all directions. So you couldn't stick onto the ball in all directions without some immense force pulling you in. So if the Earth's a ball, gravity has to exist, and that's the only evidence we have for it, is by presupposing the Earth's a ball, and that's the only way that it could even exist. Gravity isn't real. Okay, and if you want to get real technical, technically there's something called electrostatics, like when you take a balloon, rub it on your hair, stick to the wall. When you scoot your feet and shock somebody, that's called electrostatics. 10 to the 39th power stronger than gravity, so if you can't get rid of that, how could you find gravity? But anyway, I digress. So whenever you just blindly say gravity, 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 as if it's your God in this heliocentric religion, just know that it's actually a fairy tale. It's just theoretical. It has no evidence, and that you don't sound smart to smart people, right? So anyway, the next thing we're going to talk about is the most important thing, and then I'll wrap it up with this. If the Earth is a ball with a circumference of 24,901 miles, and it's actually, we're going to talk about two more things. Okay, so let me do the other one first. So supposedly we were spinning 1,000 miles per hour while we shoot around the sun 66,600 miles per hour, while the sun shoots through space 500,000 miles per hour, while the galaxy shoots through space 1.3 million miles per hour. If this was actually happening, you would see a change in the sky. It's called parallax. You would see the movement of the stars change over time, but they've been exactly the same for all recorded history for thousands of years. The Egyptians actually built megalithic structures lined up with the same stars they're lined up with today. We have 77 constellations because they're constant, and the circles in the sky reset every single year around Polaris, the North Pole star, over the North Pole, which is the center of the surface of the Earth. Okay, so the sky resets over top of the Earth for all recorded history, and it would have to change if they were in fact going all these different motions, but it's been the same for literally thousands of years, and any time anyone's ever recorded it. And then arguably the most important part, this is the part that objectively proves we don't live on a ball. They said that the Earth has a circumference, which is the size around a sphere or a circle, right? They said we have a circumference value of 24,901 miles. That means we have a radius value of 3,959 miles. Of course, the radius is the center to the edge, the distance from the center to the edge. Okay, so you can use this radius value and you can test and see if the Earth actually has that radius value, because it dictates what rate the Earth has to curve. The surface of the Earth has to curve at a certain rate based on the radius value. For example, simply, if you walk up to a mound of dirt or a hill, you can't see through it to the other side. The Earth has to do this at a certain rate if it's a ball, okay? And that's based on the radius value of 3,959 miles. This means that you have to see the curvature of the Earth, and this is just basic geometry, okay? You have to see the curvature of the Earth at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Now, I know a lot of people are like, whoa, you just, math. It's very simple. And it can be no further than that. It can be less than that, but no further than that. It's the maximum extension of the radius. Okay, so it has to be at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. So we can take a simple example. What's the square root of 1? It's 1. So what's 1 times 1.225? It's 1.225. So based on the radius value of 3,959 miles, you have to see the curvature of the Earth at 1.2 miles away when you're 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, okay? So you can go and test that. You can go see if that physical obstruction, like the hill that we talked about, is actually there where it has to be. We have an observation off the coast of California, 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, and we see the horizon is in fact over 10 miles away. Not 1.2 miles away, not a couple miles, 10 miles, over 10 miles. This would require the radius value be 264,000 miles, and they claim it's just under 4,000, 3,959 miles. We falsified the radius value. This is why Congress has admitted that they censor flat Earth. This is why when you Google flat Earth, you'll get the Flat Earth Society, no real flat Earth. There's all stupid misinformation that no one believes. They say we fall off the edge and all this other nonsense to make flat Earth look stupid. That's why I've been kicked off PayPal and Venmo and YouTube and Cash App and everything else you can name, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, because they forcibly censor us. There are 16 million flat earthers in Brazil alone. There are hundreds of millions of us that have actually gone out and tested the Earth and researched it and proven that they lied. So the only way that they can keep this inside the bag is to actually forcibly censor us. And whether or not you think this sounds crazy or not, you should certainly agree the government doesn't have the right to forcibly shut down your First Amendment, but that's what they've done, and no one's done anything about it. So anyway, the Earth is provably a geocentric stationary plane. And so the implications of this are huge, and we always get, why would they lie? Why would they lie? We give NASA $60 million a day, but the government would never lie for money, so we'll throw that out. They also have the Antarctic Treaty. You can't travel past the 60th south latitude, but the government would never lie to hide land and resources. They just murder millions of people in fake wars for that. But also, they told you everything came from nothing. You're a tiny speck of dust, and that you came from apes and all this other nonsense. If the Earth is the center of everything, it had to be created. The Earth is provably the center of everything because it doesn't move. So all the stars reset over top of the Earth, central to the Earth. That means the Earth is the center of all that exists. So how did it get there? There is not a scientifically viable option other than the fact that it was placed there. The necessary antecedent to creation is a creator. So that is probably the biggest reason they could have lied, is of course to steal money, to hide land and resources, and to hide the creator. You're easier to brainwash if you don't know there's a creator. Okay? So anyway, the Earth is provably geocentric. That means that there is provably a creator. And that means that you have a spirit. You're not some monkey that evolved and then you just die and nothing matters, okay? You're not someone that has to take orders from the government. We now have lockdowns like prisons do, I guess. I can't wait to celebrate our freedom and our independence on July 4th as long as the government lets us out of lockdown and we don't have curfews so we can go celebrate our freedom. What a clown world. All hell Biden. He said that we can breathe oxygen again as long as we take what they give us. And I can't even say the word. YouTube will delete my channel. That's how free of a country this is. I can't even say the word. I can't explain it. I can't read the medical journals because I'm actually on my backup channel. My other one's been struck. So if you guys don't see what's going on, the entire world shut down on the same exact day. All the supposed enemies of the countries all around the world agreed to shut the world down the same day. They're now scanning your wrist and scanning your forehead as you go into stores. They're now telling you to identify yourself, to buy, sell, and trade. They're now talking about rolling out an identifier. They're now putting you in lockdowns and curfews. So it's time that we wake up and we come together and we acknowledge the fact that it isn't Russia versus China versus the United States. It's actually governments versus people, and we need to stand up for our freedom before we don't have it anymore. So that's the truth. I know it's kind of heavy, but whatever, you guys need to hear it. You know, there's something more important than posting pics on the ground. If you guys want to come up here and get some cards, we have QR codes that'll take you to the real information. You will probably not be able to find me on the internet or find real flat Earth. If you just go Google flat Earth, you will not find good information. You will find 10 reasons we know the Earth's not flat. You'll find the Flat Earth Society, which is a CIA misinformation group that lies about everything that we think. Because you know, when something's so stupid, you have to make a stupid story cover front to make it look stupid. That seems legit. And whenever something's so true, you have to lie constantly to make it look like it's true. So anyway, the truth of the matter is we proved it. I want you guys to open your mind. If you want any information, there's a whole bunch of stuff up here. You can take a picture. It's basic proofs. You can also look up 200 proofs that the Earth is not a spinning ball by Eric Bay. That's a pretty good way to open up the door for you. You can actually find that if you Google it, I believe. We also have QR codes and a bunch of other stuff that'll take you to the true information. So I encourage you to open your mind, and peace out.
Flat Earth robot, baby. We're out of here. I'm exhausted. How long have we been on here? 4 hours? Jeez Louise. I'm tired for you guys. You have to hear me say the same thing 30 times. I gotta wrap this up. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna talk with the chat for a little bit. Sorry, I had to go hand out cards. Let me go to the YouTube channel and chat with you guys. Anyway, what's up, guys? Great stream, Austin. Thank you. I donated that banner of the tour. I made the frame out of bamboo. Yeah, shout out Critical Inception. God bless Austin. Another great live. Thank you. You crushed it, Austin. Thanks. The sign helps a lot. Because people can try to be like low key and take a picture. Yeah, like come ask me for a card. All right. So many people reading and listening. Yeah, thank you for the kind words. It's all good, guys. Don't panic. We have apple juice. Here's a game of having a near-ending spiral because sorry, man, they're attacking the stream still. Like, just let it go, man. You not realize that I'm wrapping it up. You should put the QR code on the sign so everyone takes a picture of it. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I have to figure out how to do it. I have to get a big one made. Great location, yeah, it's pretty cool. I think I'm about to go. I don't know if they're down. If they're down, then we might go look over there. But we're probably gonna be here for another day or so, so we might just go some other time. It's up to them. But okay, I'm just gonna put my song and get out of here. I love you guys. If I'm up to it, I might. We were thinking about doing this tonight, but I'm like pretty tired now. It was kind of like 4 hours. So I don't know. Print it, put it in the dock protector. Yeah. All right, I'm playing my song. I'm getting out of here. I love you guys. Thanks for kicking it. Sorry about all the interruptions. The grabblers were attacking the stream pretty hard, but what are you gonna do? What's new? I'm gonna chill with the flat earthers that are here. So seek and speak truth unequivocally, the weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance, so who cares what they think, and actually you're going to get attacked whenever they revile you for his name's sake. Rejoice, for they did it to all the prophets before you. If you want to support the tour, masqueradetour.com, $, Witsit on Cash App, Witsit at protonmail.com on PayPal. I'm like an infomercial robot too. All right, I love you guys. I'm going to catch up with you later. I'll let you guys just see the background while we play the music, and then I'm going to end it. Peace out.
Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock and twirl, somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They forcing the simple that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, that mean extorted it. They forging it, if news anchors, informants or informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy, mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this report and ships important. Yes, of course it is, but extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks we ignoring, which informing this, informing this. It looked like we were snoring tricks. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real?
Love you guys. Thanks for kicking it. All right, peace out.